in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So what could be better than an evening inside the Bradley Center for tonight's matchup between the Grand Rapids Rampage and the Milwaukee Mustangs to warm things up. Week 1 of the Arena League season started things off red hot. We'll give you all the highs and lows from last week's action. We'll talk to the guys from tonight's matchup who hope to catch fire and come out blazing. Then we'll check in to see if the SaberCats' newest two-way threat is making fireworks in San Jose. Stay tuned. We'll keep the flame burning all the way till kickoff. The Arena Football 30-minute drill is next. Welcome to the Arena Football 30-minute drill, where we're live inside the Bradley Center, getting you ready for tonight's game between the new-look Milwaukee Mustangs and the explosive Grand Rapids Rampage. It's Milwaukee's first game this season. The Rampage enters the contest at 1-0. Hi, everyone. I'm Jill Arrington. Welcome to Week 2 of TNN's coverage of the Arena Football League. For those of you who missed Week 1, I can tell you we kicked it off right. The defending champion Albany Firebirds began the defense of their title, and they did it in style. Quarterback Mike Pulaski threw 10 touchdown passes, 7 of which went to the Offensive Player of the Year last year, Eddie Brown, who in a surprise move yesterday announced that that game would be his last.
It's always been football, 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 Eddie. What I'm here to tell you today is I got to reverse my F words, and I'm going to be a father. I have a daughter that loves me to death. I love her, and most of all, she needs me around. She needs me there for her, to teach her and to guide her.
Brown finishes his career as the all-time AFL leader in both receptions and receiving touchdowns. He's second all-time in scoring and receiving yards. You know, the Firebirds are definitely going to miss him. Well, it might be tough to, combat the explosiveness of last week's games, but you know what? These two teams tonight have some fireworks of their own. To tell us more about tonight's matchup, let's go up to the booth to Eli Gold and Ed Cunningham. Hey, Eli, this is a rivalry in the making. Grand Rapids are so close that they bust here.
As a matter of fact, they probably could have just swum across Lake Michigan and made it a whole lot easier, except it's sleeting outside and temperatures are in the 30s. So many interesting stories here tonight because Michael Trigg, the coach at Grand Rapids, was the coach here in Milwaukee, took a winless team, made them a 10-4 ball club, then got released, was picked up by Grand Rapids. Milwaukee also, Ed, was an 0-5 starter a year ago. Next thing you know, they make the playoffs. They can't afford to do that again this year, I don't believe.
No, and they're making a habit of it. Back in '98, they were 1-4. Difference this year, Rick Frazier, the head coach, he kept camp here in Milwaukee instead of going away. Said he wanted his young guys to get acclimated to this city. Also, last year, they started out in the run-and-shoot offense. It didn't work. They had to make a change 4 games into the season. That is not the case. Tom Porras, the new offensive coordinator, going with a more standard Arena Football League offense.
The strange thing is, though, in this business, every game you see teams scoring collectively better than 100 points. Yet you talk to these two head coaches, and they'll try and convince you that defense is the way to win in the Arena Football League.
It's kind of a misnomer, isn't it? But on the other side of the ball, Grand Rapids, up front against Los Angeles last week, they sacked quarterback Scott Simptonfelter 3 times. That is a big number in this league. That is where Grand Rapids really makes a difference, is up front getting pressure. They know tonight against Milwaukee has a lot of weapons that Trigg is going to need that defensive line pressure all night.
Thomas Bailey, though, the fine wide receiver for Grand Rapids, 133 receptions a year ago. Michael Baker, 102. So I think, Jill, when we get down to it over the course of this evening, it's still going to be offense, Bailey and Baker, that's going to get it done for Grand Rapids.
That's right, Eli. Last week against the LA Avengers, Michael Baker grabbed 7 receptions for 102 yards and a touchdown. He now has 4,000 receiving yards and 4,121 return yards in his 5-year AFL career. Last season, Baker finished 7th in the league with 102 receptions. He also chalked up 1,091 receiving yards, 17 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Michael Baker joins us now. Michael, thanks for coming on the show. Your coach tells us that you have a no-fear factor, and somehow for you to reach the 4,000 club in just 5 years, that's got to be true.
Well, it's playing around a lot of good players. Right now I'm playing alongside Thomas Bailey, probably one of the best offensive specialists in the game since the departure of Eddie Brown. And it's just been great, playing alongside those guys and having 3 great quarterbacks, and Mike Pulaski, John Kaleo, and also now Craig Cucci. So thanks to those guys and me being healthy, it started from high school, from my high school coach and Bill Toms, you know, instilling that toughness attitude inside me.
Well, you're familiar with the NFL. You played for the Steelers. Tell me how different is the AFL for a receiver?
Well, it's a big difference. You have to be on a real short pace and catching the ball. You know, it's a quicker clock than the NFL. You have deeper routes in the NFL. And the arena football game is a real fast-paced game, and it's just right now the ball's there.
Well, you and Bailey are a pretty big threat when you're going down the field. What are you going to have to do tonight to beat these Mustangs?
Well, we just have to play within ourselves and be composed and make no mental mistakes. You know, Thomas and myself, we can somehow get loose downfield and watch out for Wayne Wade. I think he's one of the better safeties in the game, and we just have to outsmart him tonight.
And you want to say something about someone's birthday?
Absolutely. I want to wish a very warm, happy birthday to Miss Carrie Mayfield down in Tyler, Texas, from her son, Corey Mayfield, and Mr. Pascott, and the rest of the Rampage.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
When we return on the Arena Football 30-minute drill, we'll take you around the league to check in on all the news from the first week of action. Eddie Brown wasn't the only one making news. Offensive specialist Alvin Ashley, he made his name in this league as a New Jersey Red Dog, but tonight he's suited up as a Mustang. Stick around to see his season debut.
This game is better than the NFL.
Back in Milwaukee, home of the Summerfest Browns that host one of the world's largest annual music festivals. And here inside the Bradley Center, home of the Marquette Golden Eagles, Milwaukee Bucks, and of course the Arena Football Milwaukee Mustangs. This past week, the Arena Football League home teams drew in 95,252 fans to 8 games. That's over 11,000 per game. That's the highest tally for an opening week in 8 seasons. Now, the San Jose SaberCats, who kicked off their 6th season at the San Jose Arena, drew in the league-winning 14,509 fans. Eli Gold has all the news from Week 1.
And the Albany Firebirds picked up right where they left off in 1999 with a season-opening win at Nashville. The former Cal Bear threw 7 touchdown strikes to his favorite target, Eddie Brown, while finishing with 10 touchdown passes overall, tying a league record. The Firebirds defeated the Cats 76-65, starting the season 1-0. Pawlowski finished 379 yards on 29 completions. Rampage quarterback Craig Cusick went to the well early and often, throwing 5 touchdowns in Grand Rapids' comeback win on Saturday. The Rampage trailed early before scoring 27 straight points to defeat the expansion LA team. The Avengers went down 51-31, and the duo of Michael Baker and Thomas Bailey each catching touchdown passes from Cusick. Better than 12,000 fans showed up on Saturday to welcome pro football to Oklahoma City as the Wranglers took on Buffalo. Quarterback Ron Lopez led the Wrangler attack, finding the end zone 8 times, while the ground game helped Oklahoma bull its way to a 62-51 win over the Destroyers. In his first year with Buffalo, Browning-Nagel passed for 4 touchdowns, but was no match for the gunslinging of Lopez at the OK Corral. Let's stay in the Wild Wild West as Iowa took on Arizona in the weekend's only nail-biter. The Rattlers jumped out early behind the arm of quarterback Cedric Bonner, who found Maurice Bryant for 4 touchdowns on the day. Barnstormers quarterback Aaron Garcia, who had 6 touchdowns, would not be outdone as he hits Eddie Brown in the end zone to lead 40-34 after 3. After Arizona regained the lead in the 4th, Garcia's desperation pass was intercepted by defensive specialist Andre Goins to seal the 56-48 win. Bonner, who played in only 1 game last year for the Rattlers, 18 of 30, 310 yards, 7 touchdowns. In other action, Fred McNair and the Florida Bobcats spoiled the debut of the Carolina Cobras, while Orlando took out New Jersey 38-21. New England got off to a good start, defeating Tampa Bay 41-26, while in San Jose, Barry Wagner and the SaberCats rolled 54-14 over Houston. As we take a look at the standings after Week 1, LA was the only team to stumble out of the gate in the Western Division, while Grand Rapids is alone atop the Central. In the Southern Division, Florida and Orlando are tied for the lead, while in the East, the defending champs are tied with the Seawolves. For this this week's Indoor Warriors, we focus on the AFL's all-time leading rusher, Les Barley of the Grand Rapids Rampage, as well as offensive specialist, touchdown Eddie Brown of Albany. Versus Nashville last week, Brown, 12 receptions, 235 yards, 8 touchdowns. He was the Arena Football League Player of the Week in his final game before yesterday's surprise retirement announcement. Barley, the Tinacton Iron Man of the Week, recorded 2 TDs, 2 sacks, and a fumble recovery.
Well, the Mustangs started off week 1 with a bye, but there's one guy chomping at the bit to get on the field tonight, and that's 1999 Ironman of the Year Award finalist Gary Compton. And our Ed Cunningham caught up with Gary a little earlier.
Thanks, Jill. Backstage with Gary Compton, 9 years in the AFL, 6 of them right here in Milwaukee. The last 2 seasons, Gary, you guys have not had great starts. 1-4 in 98, 0-5 last year. What might be the difference this year to getting off to a fast start?
Well, I think the biggest difference, you know, obviously is the 3 divisional games. We go Grand Rapids, Houston, or Grand Rapids. If we can go 3-0 during those, you know, those games, we got to wrap, you know, a good hold on our division. But starting out 0-5 like we did last year, you dig yourselves a hole, you know, and then you're playing catch-up all year long, and it's something we can't afford to do.
Yeah, too good of a league. Now, you've got a new quarterback this year. Todd Hamill, the AFL's all-time leading passer, left. Your only quarterback while you're here in Milwaukee. Kevin McDougal steps in. What has his progress been like?
Well, you know, Kevin's been good. He's been here for 3 years, you know, so it's not like we're having to learn a whole new system with him. You know, he's just trying to get up on the timing routes with us, you know, something that I was accustomed to with Todd, you know, for 9 years that I played with him. But he's a general now. The torch has been passed on to him, and we'll let him run the show.
Yeah, we'll see how he does tonight. Now, golfers, they say the best golfer to have never won a major. Now, you're the #1 receiver in the AFL who has not made an appearance in the Arena Bowl. What are the chances like this year?
You know what? I hope it's good because my time's ticking, and I have very few left. So hopefully we'll be able to do a good job this year and get on the ball.
Great. Good luck, Gary.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Coming up on the Arena Football 30-minute drill, we'll head out west and check out on the newest Sabercat, Barry Wagner, and what he hopes to do in San Jose. We know what quarterback Craig Cusick hopes to do, lead Grand Rapids to a win. He passed for 268 yards and 5 touchdowns last week. Will he be able to top that performance?
Hey, everybody else wanted them.
The Milwaukee River running through the heart of downtown Milwaukee, site of tonight's matchup between the Mustangs and the Rampage. Barry Wagner has accomplished it all. He's won the Ironman of the Year award 6 times, given to the best 2-way player in the league. He has an Arena Bowl championship under his belt, and he's at the top of the charts in several performance categories. But this season, Mr. All-Everything is starting over. Every league has its superstars, those guys that just seem to stand out from the rest. You don't know exactly what it is about them, but there's definitely something different. Enter the world of Barry Wagner, without a doubt one of Arena football's brightest stars. His world is one of speed and skill, of toughness and determination, of 6 Ironman of the Year awards and 1 Arena Bowl title. In every game, he sets the tone of both drive and dominance. So dominant, in fact, that he has even garnered comparisons to maybe the greatest athlete ever.
I'm pretty sure a lot of guys wish they could be calling Michael Jordan in any sport. You know, I kind of enjoy that comparison.
In the year 2000, Barry Wagner finds himself in a position that MJ never was, with a new team nearly 3,000 miles away. After 8 seasons with Orlando, Wagner is starting over in San Jose with an up-and-coming franchise eager to take the next step.
This team's been in existence 6 years, and it's hungry. We haven't won a playoff game. And we need that, not only for the organization, but for the players.
Much is unknown as Wagner must now make the transition from an experienced veteran team to one in desperate need of his leadership.
The championship experience is huge for us because, you know, none of us have been there. You know, we haven't won a playoff game in team history, so his, you know, ability to lead us and help us get to the point to where we have to be for the games and the motivation factors, that's huge because he is a Arena Bowl champion and he's been in the championship games.
You know, the addition of Barry Wagner is experience-wise is great. Barry's a leader, and the guys really respect him. He's just came in and just gelled really well with our team.
Once a flashy playmaker with nothing on his mind but winning, Wagner welcomes his new role and has found great resolve with his younger teammates.
You know, come to a new team, it's hard. You know, you're not used to this guy doing this, guy doing that. You're used to being on the field with guys you know for a year or two and know how to beat them, know how not to beat them. And my thing is learning something new. It's like going back to college and your first year in school, you got to win a spot. That's how I feel out here. He's coming to a team where we have skilled guys that can, you know, get it done. So I think we all help each other. I mean, having the addition of Barry takes the pressure off of everybody, and I believe it also takes the pressure off of himself. In Orlando, he was kind of the man and the go-to guy. Here we have a number of go-to guys.
The 2000 SaberCats boast potentially the best offense in the league with the addition of Barry Wagner. The only question remaining is, can he take them as far as the playoffs or perhaps to the Arena Bowl?
I think anytime you suit it up or you start a season, you expect to win the whole thing.
You know, our goal this year is to win an Arena Bowl championship, and we believe anything short of that is going to be a disappointing season for us.
He's very competitive, and he wants to win a championship just as bad as everybody else out there.
Wagner made his West Coast debut on Saturday when the SaberCats hosted the Houston Thunder Bears. Wagner had 4 receptions for 31 yards and a touchdown in San Jose's 54-14 win over Houston. As 6-time Ironman of the Year, Barry Wagner has already reserved his spot in the Arena Football record books. Here's a look at some other career leaders who are still adding to their numbers. George LaFrance has gained the most all-purpose yards in the history of the league. This 12-year veteran will be doing his damage in New Jersey this season. Grand Rapids' Les Barley is tops in career rushing yards, and Buffalo's Sylvester Bembury leads the AFL in sacks. As the Arena Football 30-minute drill rolls on, we'll take a look at the latest star to rise over Milwaukee. Former Red Dog Alvin Ashley is ready to lead the Mustangs stampede. And don't go away, kickoff is just around the corner. We're almost ready for Grand Rapids versus Milwaukee coming up.
Hey.
Though Arena Football is played indoors, the rules are largely similar to those in the outdoor game. However, in some instances, the rules are very different. Lucky for us, we have Ed Cunningham around to explain the rules of the game.
Thanks, Jill. We're here with Alvin Ashley. One of the big differences in the Arena Football League, Alvin, a former New Jersey Red Dog, now with Milwaukee, is the boards that come into play on the sideline. Alvin's a wide receiver. If he is on the sideline, he can use the wall as a defender comes over to push off and make the defender miss. He is still in bounds. He can also, as he catches the ball and running along the sidelines, push off to continue himself in bounds. As long as his feet do not get out of bounds, he is still in bounds. Now, the difference being, if I'm the defender, he catches the ball, and I push him into the wall, he's now out of bounds where he touched the wall. Now, some of the other things that can happen with the football, if the quarterback throws an out route to the sideline and it comes off the wall and he catches it, the ball is in play. Also, if Alvin is running along the sidelines and the defender knocks the ball out on a fumble, hits the wall, comes back into play, he is in bounds. The whole key here is the feet and the out-of-bounds line. In Milwaukee, it's awfully tight. So if his feet stay in bounds as he pushes off, as long as he's not pushed there, he's still in bounds. And another thing that's a big difference, Jill, in the Arena League is the size of the players. I mean, they're much bigger than outdoors. Alvin, you got something to say to Jill?
Yeah, look at my size. But let's throw it back to Jill.
Who says size matters? Well, at this time last week, we introduced you to a superstar named Eddie Brown. He went on that night to tally 235 receiving yards and 7 touchdown catches, which tied an Arena League record. But tonight, our superstar is Alvin Ashley. You know, I bet he hopes to have as good a performance tonight as Brown did last Thursday. AFL veteran, Ashley established himself as one of the premier offensive threats in the league last season with the New Jersey Red Dogs. He notched 1,352 receiving yards, as well as 1,207 return yards a year ago. His totals of 211 catches for 2,546 yards the last 2 seasons are 3rd best in the league, only to San Jose's Barry Wagner and Nashville's Corey Fleming. He ranks 7th on the league's all-time list for both receiving yards with 5,601 and receiving touchdowns with 109. His numbers for return yards place him 3rd all-time. Arena Football on TNN continues next Thursday as Orlando visits Carolina. The expansion Cobras are looking to make a big splash into the AFL, while Orlando quarterback Connell Maynor is hoping to get the Predators started towards their third straight Arena Bowl. That's Orlando at Carolina next Thursday at 8 p.m. on TNN. Want to find out more about the game and the Arena Football League? Log on to AFLOnTNN.com for all the latest news. Speaking of the Carolina Cobras, you can chat live online Wednesday, April 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time with Jack Jackson. This former University of Florida standout is now a wide receiver for Carolina. That's going to do it for this edition of the Arena Football 30-Minute Drill. Don't forget about next Thursday when we come to you live from Raleigh, North Carolina for that matchup between the Carolina Cobras and the Orlando Predators. But we've got some business to take care of here first. Grand Rapids and Milwaukee are set to kick it off.
Collar City, where the population loves hard work and dedication. In the Arena Football League, no player brings this to mind more than Milwaukee's Gary Compton. This veteran's drive and work ethic is the backbone of the Mustangs. Compton's pursuit of the extra yard makes him difficult to corral and gives this team its personality. This never-say-die attitude was never more apparent than last season. Milwaukee started 0-5, but then rang up 7 wins in its last 9 games to reach the playoffs. Tonight, the Mustangs look to stampede out of the gate. Meanwhile, Grand Rapids is looking for a return to the postseason, assaulting the defenses of the AFL. The Rampage spends as much time in the end zone as at the line of scrimmage. Receivers Baker are the cornerstones of this explosive attack. It's Grand Rapids and Milwaukee from the Bradley Center in the Arena Football Game of the Week from TNN Sports. Bradley Center in Milwaukee. In this building one night ago, the NBA's Milwaukee Bucks and Washington Wizards combined for 215 points. Well, we may not hit that number tonight, but trust me, the Rampage and the Mustangs will make a run at it here on Arena Football on TNN Sports. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Milwaukee. It's a rotten old day today. It's sleeting outside, temperature in the 30s. But Ed Cunningham, we are set for football. Let's take a look at what Grand Rapids has. They've got Bailey. They've got Baker. We've talked about him. Jill updated you on the pregame show. But how about Gary Compton from Milwaukee?
Yeah, Gary Compton is definitely a guy who fits into the mold of the Milwaukee town. I don't think it's a mistake that he wears number 2 because you are going to get plenty of second effort out of number 2. Not only does he do it offensively, but last year in a key win against Grand Rapids, he had an interception return for a touchdown as a linebacker. And oh, by the way, he had 4 return touchdowns last year on kickoff. So pretty much does it all for Milwaukee.
The oh, by the ways are very much a part of this game. Of course, the other thing to talk about is these two teams just don't like each other. Coaches have coached for both teams. Players have played for both teams. They're a couple of hours apart. And, I mean, last year's game was downright ugly.
Yeah, you mentioned that maybe that Grand Rapids could have swum across the lake to play this. It seemed like they did last year. Came down to a last-second play. 9-point deficit Milwaukee had going into the 4th quarter. People getting slammed all over the field until this last play. Time elapsing. Todd Hamill, is the knee down or the football in? It's kind of like the chicken and the egg argument. Another angle it looks like he might have got in. You cannot say this was hometown refs because this game was played over in Grand Rapids.
They're still talking about the finish to that one as you take a look at the series and look at the numbers from last season. It was a big old blowout here for Grand Rapids, but in Milwaukee's return to the Van Andel Arena, you see that controversial win, 52-51. The head coach is Mike Trigg. He's a good one, 4th among active coaches with those 38 wins in his career overall. Rick Frazier is the head coach for the Milwaukee Mustangs, 14-15. You see his regular season record here. He was an assistant to Trigg when Trigg was the head coach. The deep man is Thomas Bailey. He's joined by David Andrews deep as well. Michael Baker also back as Grand Rapids won the toss. They elect to receive. That is Steve Viditek. And the rest of the crew getting set to kick it off. Off the net, remember, it is live for Thomas Bailey, who's out across the 7 and gets stacked up by Wayne Wade, the defensive specialist for Milwaukee. And there is Craig Cusick. He is an outstanding quarterback. You see the numbers in the win last week against Los Angeles. Went to mini camp with the San Francisco 49ers a few years ago.
Here we go. Played right up the road at Wisconsin lacrosse. He was Division III Player of the Year back in 1995. He led Wisconsin lacrosse to 2 national titles, one in 92 and again in 95. He has quite a few members of his family here tonight.
Andrews and Bailey are the wideouts to the near side. That is Andrews in motion. Quick out is off the fingertips of Thomas Bailey. The third-year player out of Auburn, Sean Riley, was the man on the cover. And there you see the Grand Rapids offense. Of course, Thomas Bailey was the MVP of the Rampage a year ago. And the offensive line geared around Corey Mayfield, who, by the way, his mom, Carrie, is celebrating a birthday today. Carrie, we know you're watching at home. Happy birthday to you.
Talking to Michael Trigg about the win last week against Los Angeles. Very happy with his line play, both offensively and defensively. He thinks that's a key to tonight's game. Keep Cusick upright, although he was knocked down on that last play, and get to Kevin McDonald.
Bailey with high motion. Quick release, Baker. From the 7 out across the 10 to the 11-yard line. Wayne Wade there on the stop. The Milwaukee defense is keyed by the man who made the stop seconds ago. And of course, there's the big lineman, Mike Ivey from Wisconsin lacrosse. And there you see Riley, Guidry, and Wade, who had 22 passes that he broke up, along with those 91 tackles a season ago.
We've already talked about how coaches have coached everywhere. Michael Trigg, who was the coach here in Milwaukee until '97, said that Wade may be the best cover guy in the league.
Andrews, Bailey, and Baker are the wideouts. Wide open for the first down across the 20 to the 22. Bailey gets stacked up by Paul Guidry. There's a good look at Thomas Bailey. Last weekend, 9 receptions, 12 yards, and he was open.
And one thing that Bailey has in this league is does not have a fear of the wall. You know when you run the out route, tells Guidry, hey, that if you're going to hit me a little harder than that. I like this stuff. But Thomas Bailey is really not afraid of that wall. When you run that out route, it's coming to you really fast.
There's a good look at Thomas Bailey. 33 touchdown receptions a year ago. A face mask penalty assessed by referee Wes Fritz at the end of the play. And the mark-off brings the football to the Milwaukee 20-yard line. There is Wes Fritz.
And we should set up that this is Milwaukee's first game of the season. They had a bye the first week. Rick Frazier, the head coach, told me before the game they kind of needed the rest, but they may be just a tad rusty. Grand Rapids already a game under their belt.
Cusick on the give. Marcellus Mostella, another former Auburn Tiger, bursting through with Paul Guidry making the stop at the 12-yard line. Mostella made his name as an outside linebacker at Auburn. All-SEC performer, but again, if you're new to the Arena Football League, yeah, you got to be comfortable on both sides of the line of scrimmage in this game.
A little strange for a former All-SEC linebacker now taking a little fullback dive. A nice play there, nice wrinkle by Michael Trigg and his offense. They had Bailey in motion, faked the toss, and came a little underneath handoff to the fullback.
Again, the quick throw. Andrews makes the grab for a 2-yard pickup. Should be enough for the first down. You know that David Andrews stays up the night before every game till 4 a.m. I said, why? He said, it's just something I do.
Well, he's lucky the kickoff isn't till 7. He can sleep till noon or 1 and get all those hours. But Andrews was a guy last year, was only able to play in 4 games. One of the reasons that Baker and Bailey both had over 100 receptions was because this guy, who was really the deep threat for the Rampage, was on the shelf. And Michael Trigg said if he can stay healthy, we're going to have 3 of the top guys in the league.
He went to camp with the New England Patriots a couple of years ago. First and goal from the 9. Cusick looks, throws complete out of bounds at the 6-yard line. Michael Baker, the other part of that very dangerous tandem on the quick out route in front of Paul Guidry.
And this is where Michael Trigg, been around the league a long time, coached in the league, took the Detroit Drive as a quarterback to 2 championships, 88, 89. And we'll listen to the quarterback coming in, but it gets real tricky down here in tight.
trips right, Y motion back, 60, Z go, on one, ready?
They're going to have a go route. Now, it's very interesting. A go route runs to the corner of the end zone, and the end zone's in Milwaukee. Because this is an ice hockey venue, they're still playing hockey very tight in the end zones. The end zones are cut off.
Hard work down the near side to the 1-yard line. Bailey made the grab, gets to the 1 before he is stopped just short of pay dirt. That was Sean Riley who made the stop. Watch it again from our overhead camera. Gives you a good view into the corner.
Bailey lined up in the slot. The 2 outside receivers run the go. Little blocking downfield. Good setup. That looked to me like a touchdown there, partner. Looked like the left arm got the ball over for Bailey.
But they're going to call it the ball at the Milwaukee 1. Marcellus Mostella is the fullback. There's Bailey in motion. Over the top, the dive is there for Bailey and the touchdown. Thomas Bailey, who only had 1 carry for a couple of yards last week against Los Angeles, goes over the top and the 6-0 Grand Rapids lead.
And there was a play that Michael Trigg, Baker's a little gimpy getting up, but there was a play that Michael Trigg showed earlier. It was Bailey in motion. And now you're going to have the lead block by Mostella on the front side linebacker. They ran it before where they just handed it off to Mostella, but that time able to get a gap in the line of scrimmage. Good call by Michael Trigg down inside the 1.
Brian Goins out of the hold of Max Nocky. The extra point gives the Rampage the early 7-0 lead. That's right, you got yourself a touchdown. There's going to be a lot more of those before the night's over. Arena Football on TNN is being brought to you by Degree, the body heat activated antiperspirant. By Tinactin, for tough cases of athlete's foot, there's Tough Actin, Tinactin. That scoring drive for the Rampage, 8 plays, 43 yards, 5 minutes and 18 seconds, fairly lengthy drive. And out of the 8 plays, 4 times the tackle was made by Paul Guidry, the defensive back.
Michael Trigg, very methodical going down the field with his play calling, mostly underneath stuff. And here's Alvin Ashley. A lot of people around the league have forgotten that he's in Milwaukee. This guy, only 150 pounds, maybe, but one of the most explosive return receivers in the league.
Out of Southwest University up in Minnesota, Brian Goins from Northwestern. He'll boot it away. That one sails beneath the crossbar and out of bounds into the seats. That is a touchback, and the football comes out to the 5-yard line. And there is a good look at Kevin McDougal, the former Notre Dame standout, who when he played for the Fighting Irish led them to an 11-1 season, number 2 in the country. He's a good one, but he takes over somewhat untested.
And he's been with this league 3 years, and this will be only his 2nd start. Had to start against Florida back in '98, had a great game. Last year did not take a snap from center as Todd Hamill went the distance for Milwaukee.
Looking to go long quickly on the first play for Ashley. He's there. He's behind the defense. He's in. Touchdown as they burn Hassan Shamsuddin on a 45-yard, 1-play touchdown drive.
Well, we had a 5-minute drive before, and now we have a 4-second drive. It's Arena Football. And that guy is not afraid to play it up to the crowd either.
Alvin Ashley.
A really nice job by Kevin McDougal. The blocking up front, sensational. He buys himself a little time. All one-on-one blocking. It looked like Ashley was his 3rd receiver. He looked right to both receivers. Alvin was by himself backside, never gave up on the route. You've got to feel a little bit of sympathy for Shamsuddin. Very tough to keep up with a guy for that long one-on-one.
And Shamsuddin's a good cover man, formerly with the Wolfpack of NC State. Now Steve Viditek out of the hold of Matt DeRazio. We're all tied. It happens that quickly. You got it, Alvin. 109 receptions last year, 1 this year.
At 7, Grand Rapids scored first. Milwaukee with a new starting quarterback. If you're used to Milwaukee, you're used to seeing Todd Hamill under center. Now it's Kevin McDougal, does a nice job moving his feet. And look at this ball. It doesn't get much better than this to Alvin Ashley. This is his second year with Milwaukee, but the last time he played in a Mustang uniform back in 1994. So pretty good hookup for these two guys.
So Alvin checking out the highlight overhead. There's Thomas Bailey, the deep man. Last year averaged 12.8 yards per return. Had a 12-yard return earlier off the kick by Viditek. To the 10, and again out to the 12, 13-yard line. So very consistent on the return before Hugh Hunter will strip him up off the kick by Viditek. And Craig Cusick getting set to go to work, talking it over with Coach Michael Trigg.
In 1998, he threw 17 passes coming into 1999 in his career. And last year, he just absolutely exploded. First year as a starter, threw for over 3,500 yards. But really the key was his efficiency. 68 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions. That was best for third in the league in pass efficiency.
Right across the middle, Bailey's wide open at the 20. To the Milwaukee 17 and pays the price as Guidry and Lincoln Coleman combine on the stop. Thomas Bailey on the receiving end of Cusick's throw. There's Lincoln Coleman, only guy on the carpet tonight with a Super Bowl ring. Got one with the Cowboys back in the 90s.
Again, Trigg just goes with the underneath stuff. In the Arena League, it's going to be open all night. Get it to Thomas Bailey, and we talked about the hot tempers in this game, and Les Barley and Lincoln Coleman got into it after that play. The officials are going to have their hands full tonight, Eli.
19 yards on the pickup to the Mustang 17-yard line. Wide open Baker. Second effort, Coleman will stop him at the 10-yard line with help from Sean Riley.
It's kind of interesting to see the back and forth between Michael Trigg, who's the head coach and offensive coordinator for Grand Rapids. On the other side, Rick Frazier, who's the head coach of Milwaukee and defensive coordinator, was the defensive coordinator for Trigg. Yeah. It's funny to see what they're doing going back and forth right now. Cusick going underneath and going to see if Frazier will come up. Now, the Z receiver has a choice here. And when they say Z choice, he's either going to run the post or the corner. Now, they have a short field, so he'll have to get open very quickly.
From the 12. Andrews in motion. Nice grab up against the wall with a flag on the play. Baker came up with the stop. Jeff Savage there on the hit, but you see the call against Grand Rapids. It'll be the first mark-off of the evening against the Rampage.
And really down in this part of the field, you kind of want a little breathing room. Once you get inside the 10-yard line in arena football, those linebackers who cannot leave their box.
95 offense with a takedown. 8 yards. Repeat, second down.
Patrick Scott gets 2 points for the takedown from West Fritz. But you almost want a little breathing room for Michael Trigg. Right side of your screen, you're going to see the takedown. Motion over there. Yeah, I don't know what else you would call that. He's going one-on-one against Terry Grooms. I'm not quite sure what you would call that other than a takedown.
Cusick, 7 of 8, 51 yards to throw again. Looking. Andrews at the 5 to the 4 and shoved out of bounds. They are picking on Paul Guidry right there, number 7. They've just been going in his direction virtually the entire quarter.
And now with David Andrews back in the fold, missed most of last year, only 4 games. Not only does Grand Rapids have 3 explosive receivers, they have 3 receivers with very good size. Andrews 6'3", 190 pounds. Both Bailey and Baker over 6 feet, over 190 pounds. So, you know, most cover corners in this league go 5'10", 180. This is really good matchups for Grand Rapids.
Guidry, though, is very, very fast. He's a fine impact player who was a great cover defensive back at UCLA. But this game's a whole lot different than what you play there at the Rose Bowl. From the 5, there's motion, and the flags come flying in.
I believe they're going to get somebody from Milwaukee in the neutral zone, but they made contact. It didn't look like anybody from Grand Rapids flinched.
Looked like Grooms was jumping around.
Prior to the snap, encroachment, number 90 defense.
Indeed it was.
Half the distance.
He is one of only 2 returnees on the line for Milwaukee, and that's good and bad. He and Mike Ivey, because this Milwaukee line offensively and defensively last year just quite honestly, pitiful numbers.
And Rick Frazier and the personnel staff here in Milwaukee tried to make some changes. He lost two rookies that he brought in that he really liked, lost them to season-ending injuries during training camp. So Milwaukee only has 7 linemen dressed tonight. Typically, you'll have 8, but Frazier trying to rebuild a line that struggled last year, and they're beset already by injuries.
The great Iron Man, Les Barley, in at the fullback spot, gets the football, charges in for the touchdown. Les Barley.
Tastes great.
Les Barley.
Tastes great.
Les Barley.
We are in Milwaukee, right?
We could go like this all evening long, but suffice to say, from the 3, Mr. Barley with the touchdown, and you knew it was coming the way he lined up right there behind Cusick.
Well, you called him Mr. Iron Man. He had a couple touchdowns last week and a sack this time. Does it with the football under his arm, goes airborne from about the 3 to get in. The AFL's all-time leading rusher. He's the only guy in league history to have over 1,000 yards rushing in his career.
Goins to kick. Lewandowski, the snapper. Max Nocky, the holder. They were perfect last week against Los Angeles. Perfect this evening thus far. So the Rampage showing the way as number 42 right there. Les Barley, an Iron Man, doing what he has to do.
Introducing the new 72.
Welcome back to the Bradley Center. Nice and warm indoors. Cold, nasty, sleety, awful outside. As the fans have come in, a great crowd on hand, and they'll be spying on those guys throughout the course of the evening and see how they react. The Rampage lead the hometown Mustangs 14-7. And there's Alvin Ashley as the deep man for Milwaukee to field the kick from Brian Goins. A squib kick that goes out of bounds at the 5-yard line up into the crowd, and that is a souvenir in the Arena Football League. Someone up there is able to keep that football and take it home.
And it is also the largest penalty that they mark off in the AFL. If the ball does not go into the field of play.
The kick went out of bounds, however, it hit the ground first. So we go out of bounds on the 5-yard line, even though it went inside the 5.
Well, there's your explanation. I'm just going to sit here and shut up now.
Well, no, you knew it, but so did old Wes Fritz. Let's check out the Milwaukee offense for you. There you see some of the names we've been talking about already this evening, including Alvin Ashley. You know, he had 16 receptions in 1 game last year against Buffalo. Hugh Hunter, there he is, part of that offensive line that allowed only 3 sacks in Nashville last year. He's part of that new look to the Milwaukee team. Ashley in motion. Under pressure, it's thrown away to avoid.
You got a safety.
Couldn't do it. Yep.
McDougal threw it away. He was in the grasp of Les Barley. A good call by Wes Fritz that they will give a safety to Grand Rapids. Confusion up front. Nobody slid to pick up the blitzing linebacker. Barley.
So, Kevin McDougal sacked in the end zone for the safety by the Iron Man of a weekend ago. That's an acting Iron Man, Les Barley.
Barley lined up in the middle, is going to go this way. The center never got over to help with the protection. I believe it was Doug Lytle who did not get in, slide over to his left. It was Lytle who did not get off the nose guard, slide over and pick up Barley. A good call by the official to give the safety to Barley.
And Kevin McDougal, after the spectacular start on that long touchdown throw to Ashley, now has to eat carpet here on the next possession. And you really can't afford to have offensive series go by without putting points up in this Arena Football League.
Like we saw last week in our game with Nashville and Albany, Nashville missed a few key opportunities, and then they started missing field goals. And the problem now is McDougal has to sit through another series. Cusick will be able to come back and see if he can't get Grand Rapids back on the scoreboard. But you need to score around 80% of the time you have the ball in this league.
Cusick, you know, he threw an incomplete pass on his first attempt. Since then, he is 8 of 8 for 65 yards. So clearly he's on his game. And they've been picking on Guidry, and I'm sure they'll go right back in that direction again. Off the support of the net, it bounces to Andrews. He has an opening around Viditek. See ya. Gone. Touchdown. What a game this is going to be. Give it to David Andrews out of Angelo State. Touchdown on the return.
And Cusick stands on the sideline and says, that's exactly how we draw it up when we have the ball on offense. I'll just stay over here and have another glass of water.
Exactly 50 yards. Coast to coast. Watch it off the net.
And another guy, David Andrews, who spent time with Milwaukee back in '97. He had 68 receptions. This time, Viditek really doesn't have a chance. It's a lot of open field for a kicker to try to cover, and nobody slowed Andrews down before he got to that last level of defense.
Now the extra point by Brian Goins out of the hold of Max Nocky.
Goins last year kicked a couple of games for the Chicago Bears.
Out of Birmingham, Alabama, the kick is up, and the kick is good. 23-7. And Jill, I think Craig Cusick's folks have to be breathing a little easier right now.
Oh, yeah, they sure are. I found Craig Sr. They came out back home. They used to be here when Craig was in school at the University of Wisconsin, La Crosse. So, Craig Sr., what do you think about this Arena Football League?
Oh, it's fun. We enjoy it. We enjoy watching it, and my son really enjoys playing it, of course. And the guys are. It's really fun to watch in person. You got anybody that's never seen one should see it at least once in person. It's a lot of fun.
Well, Mom, I know that your son's under a lot of pressure back there. Does it make you nervous to see those big guys coming at him so quick?
No, not at all. I've seen it many, many times, and I feel very confident. For him, the joy is in the journey. He'll be just fine.
Well, there you go. Lots of confidence. And you know what? Craig's grandfather just got out of the hospital, and they wanted to say, I'm glad you're home, Pops. Back to you guys.
All right, Jill, thank you. You know, it's great to see a guy out of Division III football being able to make that kind of an impact.
I have a feeling his mom's lying to us, though.
Yeah.
Every mother's a little nervous
sure.
when her son is getting pounded into the turf.
But Cusick's up 23-7 as the Rampage is doing the job here early. Ashley off the net. No, it is off a couple of hands. Still loose. It is covered, but it goes out of bounds. It will be going out of bounds. No one was able to pick up the handle on that one. And closest to the football, Pierce Pegros right there.
In the preseason game, we were talking about fumbles being able to come off of the wall and still being live. However, it looked to me like that ball, a great kick by Goins because it hits the hard iron. There are safeties back, but that time Wayne Wade could not play. It came off real funny. Nobody's able to get a hand on it, and right there, the ball does scoot along the sideline. It touches that white stripe, so a good call by the officials, out of bounds. Milwaukee retains possession.
Sean Riley also couldn't quite come up with it. Riley is in motion, bottom of your screen. In the grasp, and the whistle sounds, and there's a psyched-up effort by Workman, who picks up sack number 2. The Grand Rapids defense, we've not really talked that much about them here this evening. The big uglies up front, Tony Bowick, all-time Grand Rapids sack leader. And the man who got burned is normally a darn good guy, Hassan Shamsuddin, number 3 tackler with 3 passes broken up.
Milwaukee, really their downfall last year was their line play, and so far tonight, Grand Rapids is having it easy. That time, again, a messed up protection. Torrey Workman goes untouched and gets on the legs of McDougal.
On the give to Coleman. The former backup to Emmett Smith with the Dallas Cowboys out to the 17-yard line. Lincoln Coleman, a load at 6'1", 240.
And now you're facing 3rd and long for Milwaukee. This team already down 23-7 this early in the ball game. You cannot afford another drive without a touchdown. A field goal just doesn't do you much good at this stage of the game.
Good look at Lincoln Coleman. Cousin to Everson Walls. Cousin to Billy Sims.
Grew up across the street from Tim Brown.
What a family and neighborhood there. McDougal complete. Far side to Gary Compton. We have gone almost the entire quarter before we have mentioned Compton's name. Well, we've got football players colliding this evening. Don't forget, tomorrow night we'll have jammers knocking heads on skates. It's Roller Jam. Join Ed Cunningham and see who survives. Ed's right there, ringside every Friday night, 9 Eastern and Pacific. A part of TNN's Thrill Zone Friday.
They tried to put that in my contract that I would have to actually go skate, and I held out.
Here's a 1st and 10 from the 21. Riley's got it. And pays the price with the hard hit by Darius Headley.
And really what that call is, we have a flag. Lincoln Coleman got into it late there with Patrick Scott. And the officials really keeping a tab. As we know, a lot of these players know each other. There has not been a lot of friendly talk this week, but the officials really trying to keep control.
We had talked about it on the pregame. A hard-hitting get-together last year. Then you had the controversial finish on Hamill's quarterback sneak for the TD. Was it or wasn't it? They remember.
After the play was over, personal foul, 95 Grand Rapids. A blow to the head. Half the distance. Automatic first down.
And a good job by Lincoln Coleman. I saw the whole thing transpire, and he did a nice job once he got hit of backing away, because usually it's the guy who hits back who gets called for the penalty. It's like with your little brother when you get in a fight, your mom says, what happened? He goes, you can say it all started when I hit him back. I mean, you've got to be careful, but Lincoln Coleman, a good job, and that's the kind of penalty that can get Milwaukee back into this game.
Patrick Scott played for the Pittsburgh Steelers briefly before an ACL injury ended that run. Coleman, the fullback. Motion for Cooper. Nothing up the middle as the quarter ends on that stop by Murray Garrett. So we are one quarter complete here at the Bradley Center in Milwaukee. The Rampage doing it any way they can, including the run by David Andrews right into your living room. Second quarter in a moment. Coach Michael Trigg took an 0-12 team here in Milwaukee to a 10-4 and an 8-6 record, then got let go. Does that still eat at your coach?
Well, I think it's human nature when someone terminates you and asks you to go elsewhere, that you always have that extra incentive to come back and maybe just try to prove them wrong, that maybe they made a bad decision. And when I look at it in the long run, I'm 3 years in here with the Rampage. It's an excellent organization that I'm really happy with, and I'm really more concerned. But the players, I don't really try to make that a focus in the least.
I don't think he had to make it an issue for his players. His players have taken upon themselves to make it an issue.
23-7 Grand Rapids. You know, those 23 points, the most ever in the first quarter in the history of the Grand Rapids franchise. They had 21 against Iowa a year ago. Today they rewrote that record in the books. Now the Mustangs. Second and goal from the 8. McDougal to Ashley. Oh, a nice defensive stop by Darius Hadley, who ran across the back of the end zone to get there and knock it away.
And Hadley should have never been an issue on that play. And Ashley throws a great move in motion, puts a little stem move on him. Hadley had plenty of room, but that ball is just thrown late and floated to Alvin Ashley. That ball has to have a lot more zip from McDougal. Again, a guy with not a lot of experience. Basically played 1 game and a quarter before coming in as a starter this year. He's got the ability, but that ball floated on him.
And is the #1 tackler on the ball club after 1 game. Now the timing pattern overthrows the intended receiver, Gary Compton, with tight coverage on him by Tristan Moss. And they're giving away souvenirs aplenty here tonight at the Bradley Center.
Well, we were talking about the corner of the end zones at the beginning of the game. The ice hockey team that plays here is still in season, so they haven't reconfigured the boards. As the fan takes a bow, and should, $60. He's net return on the game now is about $45.
Sure.
But that very tight in the end zone. See how it curves around there? Eats up quite a bit of room in the end zone. Really surprised they went with a fade route to Compton in that corner.
Now Viditek off a bad snap and hold. The field goal is up and good. So Steve Viditek puts the Mustangs on the board. The Rampage still leading comfortably 23-10, though I guess I should have learned by now there's nothing ever comfortable about a lead in the Arena Football League. Arena Football on TNN is brought to you by 1-800-CALL-AT&T for collect calls. Yeah, got a little pretzel action going. Got some bratwurst being sold there.
I have a feeling you cannot order a microbrew there.
Well, I bet you they got your favorite Pilsner. We're playing Follow the Pretzel. It's a new feature on our weekly
David
telecast.
Letterman is very jealous right now. We've got the pretzel cam.
That's right. If Muji Bar and Sirajul surface.
They're sandwich guys, not pretzel guys.
There you go. Steve Viditek booted that 24-yard field goal to draw the Mustangs to within 13. The double carom Baker stacked up, down he goes at the 3-yard line. No accounting for that that double carom. You know, there's no accounting for what you're going to see in this business. One pass, 45 yards, kickoff returns. That's why even on a not very nice evening here in Milwaukee, these folks come out and pack the house.
Well, and you know, the mistakes by Milwaukee up front blocking against his very good Grand Rapids rush has really cost them. That's why they're down 13 points early. They just can't figure out their blocking scheme. But I tell you one thing, these kickers have got the kickoffs down, both of them banging them off the iron. That's kind of the goal, to make it bounce around in there for a while till your coverage can get downfield.
Quick release in the left flat. And there is Michael Baker out across the 10-yard line. And again, Paul Guidry in on the stop. What is it that they have spotted on Guidry, or is it merely the fact that he has been lined up 8 times against Baker, and that's how they were going?
You know, sometimes it's the luck of the draw. If you end up going to the guys that they're set up, that time was Michael Baker the call. Let's see what the call is here.
Short throw right here.
Couldn't quite hear it, but he probably said, and look for Guidry.
No, but that time it was just a set-up little quick flanker screen to Baker, and Guidry was the one over there.
Nothing on the right, nothing on the left. Back to the right side, looking long. Oh, nice defensive play. Coming back was Sean Riley to reach up and knock it away. He was looking, and there's the souvenir again, as they had Baker, as they looked back a second time to the right side. It was good coverage.
Well, and that time it was good protection up front that allowed for a pump fake. But watch the closing speed. Really surprised right there that they didn't call Riley for that right arm. But as long as he doesn't push off, he's allowed to have it up.
And he's an interesting guy, too. Riley, right there, actually played both offense and defense when he was in Western Michigan. So going into the quarterback slot or wide receiver is not foreign territory for him.
And a rookie in this league learning a lot. That time, very good closing speed. But Cusick could have gotten that ball away just a tad quicker. And we'll try to take a listen this time.
Okay, on 2-on-2, right. Y motion, okay? I got a 90 wide post on 2-on-2. Ready?
They are 2 of 2 in third down conversions. This is a 3rd and 3. Baker in motion. They go to Baker. He's got the first down, and again drilled by Paul Guidry. Oh, and that one hurt. That one hurts. The 5th-year veteran out of West Virginia.
When we talked to Michael Trigg earlier in the week, the head coach, he said that's what Baker and Bailey have, is no fear of the wall. And this time Guidry gets a shot late as Baker gets over there. And it looked like Guidry's knees got into the midsection of Baker up against that wall. And that's what it looks like Baker is grabbing, is the right side, his ribs over there. It looked like the knees of Guidry maybe slammed him into the wall.
A member of the All-Ironman team a year ago, Michael Baker.
Last week against Los Angeles, 102 receiving yards, put him in the elite 4,000 receiving yard, 4,000 return yard club. And watch the knees of Guidry as he follows through on the tackle. And those boards do not give, Eli. We down on the field earlier. Those are set up for the hockey team that plays here, the Admirals. They don't move, and there is not a whole lot of padding between from the field to that wall.
Just another reason, as we talked on our telecast last week from Nashville, why not everybody can play arena football. I mean, you've got to be really in outstanding shape to be able to go both ways.
Well, in stadium football, you always ask, can a receiver run the crossing route and get ready to hit by linebackers? In arena football, it's can he run the out route towards the wall, because that's where the fear factor comes in here.
Grand Rapids was assessed a timeout, but Baker is able to stay in the football game as he and Andrews go wide to the top of your screen. From midfield, Cusick to throw. He's got him. What a grab by Baker. He's fine. 25 yards, touchdown. He beat Wayne Wade. Baker's fine.
I was going to say, is he trying to juke us a little bit, get a little drama added into his touchdown?
Cusick, though, laid it out there magnificently.
One-on-one Michael Baker against Wayne Wade. Wade, one of the best cover guys in the league, but just so tough. You have no safety help. You have no underneath help from linebackers who have to stay in a little 5-yard box. And you said it just right. Nice throw, but a better effort by Michael Baker to reach out and get that ball pulled into his body.
Wade last year broke up 22 passes, the year before 18, but here tonight he was burned on that one. Goins, problems, Nocky looking. It was picked off and it's a live football. No. On the extra point attempt, you cannot return it. And Sean Riley, though he thought he was gone, gives the crowd a thrill.
He saw nothing but plastic in front of him.
He says, hey, I thought I could do that. Well, they don't quite allow it, but nevertheless, the Rampage up by 19. Us here at TNN, very, very welcome. We thank everybody for the nice reception. Lamar Cooper, Alvin Ashley, Paul Guidry all deep to field the Brian Goins kick. And it sails up into souvenir country. It'll be a touchback, and the football comes out to the 5. Arena football on TNN continues next Thursday as Orlando visits Carolina. The expansion Cobras are looking to make a big splash into the AFL. While Orlando quarterback Cannell Maynor is hoping to get the Predators started towards their 3rd straight Arena Bowl. That's Orlando and Carolina from the Raleigh Entertainment and Sports Arena next Thursday at 8 p.m. on TNN. And if you want to find out more about the game and about the Arena Football League, just log on to AFLOnTNN.com for all the latest news. We were there for the preseason game against the New England Seawolves and had a great crowd, good crowd last week. Looking forward to being with you folks in Raleigh next weekend. Here comes the rush. Loose football intercepted, and they're going to bring it back for the touchdown. That was going to be David Andrews, who picks it up after Marcellus Mostella came charging in. You know, we heard about that from Coach Trigg. He said, I'm just going to bring him and bring him and bring him. And watch it again as McDougal just unloaded the football. Watch the pressure.
Right there is Mostella coming. Again, the center is held that time by 91, Corey Mayfield. Now, that is supposed to be a penalty. Tough for the official to see that, but Mayfield grabs the center, number 80, Mike Ivey, pulls him out of the way and allows Mostella a free run. And McDougal has been taken down twice very hard. One time around his legs, that time slammed into the turf. But the official should have called that a holding on the defense.
The extra point by Brian Goins. And with flags coming, the kick was up and good.
You're going to have Craig Moore, number 65, with an outside rush. You're not allowed to rush outside the wingmen because of too short of a split.
Outside rush, 65, decline. Extra point is good.
So the extra point does count, and the score is now the Rampage 36, the Mustangs 10. And how about the performance for David Andrews? A kickoff return and an interception return for touchdowns already tonight. Be tickled about the goings-on right now. Opening night for the Mustangs, not a strong performance as Grand Rapids gets set to kick it away again. Brian Goins to the deep man, Lamar Cooper. Off Cooper's hands, and that is a touchback. So quarterback Kevin McDougal now set to go to work again for the Mustangs.
Well, and if Milwaukee doesn't straighten out their protection up front, they're going to have to make a change. Comparison, it's not even a comparison, but it's tough to blame McDougal, although he missed one throw earlier that was a little late. He's just not getting much help up front. And when we at the opening of the show, we talked about the line of Grand Rapids, and Michael Trigg, the head coach, said that is our strength. But really, Milwaukee is just giving them a free run to their quarterback.
McDougal out of Notre Dame. Compton, the man in motion, makes the grab, and he's forward to the 15-yard line.
And that's one thing Gary Compton has done throughout his career. 9 years in the AFL, 6 of them right here in Milwaukee. He's the leader, vocally, in the locker room, emotionally. So this is something that they're going to have to do as we take a look. Last year had an incredible year. The year before, 98 career highs in every category. But you got to start going to your leaders when things start going bad.
Some of you folks who go back a bit might remember his uncle, Dick Compton. Played in the NFL, a wide receiver with Houston, with Pittsburgh, with Detroit back in the 1960s. Quick flare, Lamar Cooper. Out to the 23-yard line, Hassan Shamsuddin.
And they still have not figured out what they're doing up front with Milwaukee. That time the ball was snapped early. Nobody moved. Grand Rapids, it looked like they would have called Milwaukee for illegal procedure, but it was a legal snap. So Milwaukee right now really struggling up front.
They've seen a little bit of everything. Tristan Moss, last year played with the Barcelona Dragons. He comes over as a defensive specialist on a 2nd and 3 play. Compton in motion.
That time a bad snap.
Yep, going down at the 20-yard line, and behind the play, Ashley and Dean getting together just a little bit. Tempers are getting short. Emotions are ugly to start with. Odell Parks, who played here for the last couple of years, he's sky high.
That time they were just running a little quarterback sweep where you take the fullback and put him on the lead out to the outside. And Mike Ivey, the center, just did not get the ball up to McDougal. He has to pick it up off the turf for a lost yardage play. His face pretty much tells you what's going on right now.
Rick Frazier, head coach of the Mustangs, on a 3rd and 5 from their own 20. There's a jump. Patrick Scott moving off the left side of the Grand Rapids defensive line. Had 5 sacks a weekend ago against Los Angeles. 5 of them.
Snap. Encroachment. 95. 3-yard penalty. Unabated to the quarterback.
Although Patrick Scott had not made contact with the offensive lineman. We'll take a listen to McDougal, but that's why they stopped it. They've got to protect these quarterbacks off the edge.
3rd flag against the Rampage.
What's right with Z-Loop, 92, Wingo hitch on 1. Ready?
Now with the 92, what they've done is they're going to start going to the 3-step drop. The 92 is a protection. Wing will be in a zip motion, which comes back across the formation. But they've got to start going to this 3-step drop. And now Ivy with the fake snap.
Ivy did the double pump. Got good tools. He's a young, aggressive guy. But you can't double pump on the snap.
And, you know, the problem, I was a center in the NFL and an offensive lineman for 5 years. And
prior to the snap, illegal snap, center, 3-yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
Not only are the coaches getting on them, but now the players, the quarterbacks and the receivers are starting to get on them. They just need to settle themselves down. They know what they're doing. They know their assignments. They've had 4 weeks together. Although the offense is a little new, they have a new offensive coordinator in Tom Porras. But they just need to get themselves settled down. They're making too many mental errors.
Here's a 3rd and 5 for Milwaukee. Looking for Compton. Knocked away. Nicely done, Darius Hadley. Timed it well and didn't miss the interception by much. And now at the 20, there are flags because players are getting in each other's face, pushing and shoving at the 20-yard line. There you see the aftermath as the officials sacrifice body to step in between them. Yeah, going to be one of those nights.
Yeah, but what a play by Darius Hadley. You have to make a choice. I'm going to go for the ball or the man. He plays the ball underneath and able to knock it away.
Personal foul. 91 defense, Grand Rapids. 8-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
4th flag against Grand Rapids. Corey Mayfield.
Compton, the man in motion. The ball actually thrown, but what a great break on the ball by Hadley. You just don't play it any better, and that is a big risk to take because if you don't get your fingertips on it, that's 6 points for the other guys.
He was on injured reserve, Hadley was, all of last year with Iowa.
13 career interceptions for the 5th-year player.
So a 1st down via penalty. Ashley in motion. Ashley bobbles it. Does he come down with it? Yes, he does, says the official. The line judge on the scene says he came down with the football in front of Darius Hadley.
And those are the types of plays, Eli, that will get Kevin McDougal back in the game. That was not a great throw by McDougal. It was thrown behind. It was a little wobbly and a little bit late. But Alvin Ashley, the veteran that he is, first year with this group of players in Milwaukee, comes back and makes a really nice play on the ball. Those are the types of things. Off coverage by Hadley, plenty of room, does not want to get beat deep with this kind of lead. But again, a good veteran play by Ashley.
1st and goal from the 7. He has time. Compton, oh, beats the man we just talked of, Hadley, and walks it into the end zone for the touchdown. Hadley committed, and he says, I shouldn't have done that.
And the thing about Gary Compton, not only has he got good speed, but he's a really big, strong player, 6'2", 210 pounds. He's able to use that body. McDougal has to scramble around in the pocket a little bit to shield off Hadley. Hadley has to go around the big frame of Compton, and that time he paid for playing the ball instead of the man.
Sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug. Steve Viditek out of the hold of Matt Duracio. Count it as Gary Compton gets his team back on the offense, though they still trail the Rampage. Here at the Bradley Center off a 6-play, 45-yard scoring drive for the hometown Mustangs. 4 minutes and 51 seconds. Now the kickoff by Viditek. Off the slack net, and again a touchback. You know, not only can you keep a football if you catch it in the seating area, but you also get to sit next to Jill Arrington. I mean, what a prize package.
Look at this, you guys. One of the great things about the Arena Football League is you get great souvenirs like Kevin Lyons. What a catch. He is a 5-year season ticket holder.
It wasn't what a catch. I'm Butterfingers. It's a miracle.
Well, you know what? You can't leave your seat because his son did, and you know what? He missed the catch. But what do you think about your dad?
You're married. You shouldn't be doing this.
Oh, my word. Back to you guys. We're having too much fun out here.
Doing what? He's just getting interviewed. Give the guy some slack.
You never know about live television, do you? From their own 4. Cusick off the fingertips. Michael Bailey right there. Hey, you're going to visit with Kurt Warner, I guess, on Monday, huh?
Yeah, he's got a new video game coming out in May that it's the Arena Football. They're going to scale it down a little bit. Only 5 guys per side in the video game, but Kurt's going to pump that. And of course, we're going to talk about his incredible rise to stardom.
Be part of that PlayStation game console, and look for it starting in May. Arena Football League hero and NFL Super Bowl MVP Kurt Warner. All the teams in the league are going to be featured. It's going to be a lot of fun. Here's Cusick from his own end zone. Andrews, it's behind him. He was wide open waiting, and Wayne Wade was already beyond the play, and they're talking it over. Wade says, where were you? Andrews says, I was waiting for the ball. And it brings up a 3rd down situation for Grand Rapids. They are 3 of 3 in 3rd down conversions.
We'll take a listen.
Hey, 3rd down. All right, let me have right. Y motion back. And let's go 50. Z go double post wing jab.
Right Y motion. Here you go. Right Y motion. 50 Z go double post wing jab on 1. Ready?
You've got a go route by the C receiver, and then you're going to have a double post, a layered route up here on the top of your screen. 3rd down, but it looks like they're going to go for the 6.
Baker's going long. Baker got it. Does he stay in bounds? Yes, he does at about the 17-yard line. Just like they drew it up. And again, Paul Guidry, number 7, the man they beat.
And Patrick Scott is going to get called for a personal foul. Just a dumb play by Scott. He had number 65, Craig Moore of Milwaukee, on the ground by the line of scrimmage and would not let him up. The play before, Scott had thrown Moore over the boards, so the officials were already watching, and that time Scott not using his head.
That was a 28-yard pickup. And you see the signal. It's coming back.
And Cusick not happy, going over to his teammate Patrick Scott and saying, listen, we make a big play on 3rd down. You can't cost us.
95 offense, half the distance, remains 3rd down.
Patrick Scott, a free agent with Carolina in 1995, didn't play with the Panthers.
Let's go bunch right, Y short, 50, Z cross double corner.
Bunch right, Y short motion, 50, Z cross, double corner on 1, ready?
Short motion will be just the quick back and towards the line of scrimmage. You have another double corner route, which is just the mirror image of the post. So again, very aggressive play calling.
They come wide open to the near side. Andrews, who leaves his feet but cannot hang on to the football. There was a breakdown in the coverage. Huntley went one way. The other way went Savage. No one picked up Andrews. He just couldn't quite hang on.
And let's start giving some credit where credit's due. Milwaukee has done a nice job getting pressure on Cusick. No question the ball hits the turf there. Good call by the official deep. But Milwaukee, the last two plays, Cusick has had to move out of the pocket because both of those routes, the corner and the post before, would have been touchdowns had Cusick been able to throw the ball a touch earlier.
Now Brian Goins, who last week had field goals against Los Angeles of 39, 37, and 31 yards. In to attempt one from his own end zone. Has the leg. Not quite there, and it is a live football. It's being run back. Alvin Ashley with a flag on the play. Michael Baker puts him down in midfield, and look at the head slapping commencing.
I believe they're going to get Craig Moore for an illegal cut block on the return.
And down is Alvin Ashley in the middle of all of that.
Good trade by Milwaukee to get Alvin out of New Jersey. He is top 10 career in every receiving category. A nice pickup from Milwaukee.
17 holding, spot foul, half the distance from the 8.
They actually got Wayne Wade with a hold on the return. They also could have gotten Craig Moore with the cut.
Wayne Wade is a vicious hitter. Don't know what Wade did. Let's look. Almost looked like his ankle went out.
Flag came into your screen. Here's a guy
right there.
Yeah, the
ankle or knee. Yeah.
He went to make that final move on Michael Baker. Gets stuck in the turf a little bit. You see it in any kind of football that's played on turf. Those cleats get really grippy, especially as the game goes on. And that knee went all the way down to the ground.
Scary moment there for Alvin Ashley. Now, back to Kevin McDougal. I really thought that Milwaukee would go downfield a whole lot more with McDougal, because when he did play, he was averaging 18 yards of completion to Todd Hamill's 12 yards of completion, but I guess you can't work if you haven't got time.
Yeah, and again, I was giving credit to Milwaukee up front for getting pressure on Cusick. Now their job really has to be to keep McDougal upright. And let's listen in when he gets into the huddle and see if he starts to take charge of this thing. That's what you need out of your quarterback, is him to start taking charge, getting in a couple guys' faces and getting them to step up their game.
Left X loop, 90 Z quick screen on one. Ready?
Gonna have a quick screen to the Z receiver.
But first, the 1-minute warning is being given. If you're new to the Arena Football League, with 1 minute remaining in the second quarter and in the fourth quarter, the referee will let everybody know how many timeouts remain. Milwaukee 3, Grand Rapids 2, and now the clock will begin to stop in conventional stoppage times that you're used to from the stadium played game.
And this screen really is just kind of like a toss sweep over to the left.
Yeah, but again, looked like somebody moved. Maybe Terry Grooms, so he says somebody across from me moved. Sean Riley, also the man in motion.
21 offense.
That's who it was. Sean Riley.
Well, they had him in motion, and there was confusion between McDougal and Compton. So they didn't call for the snap, and Riley is waiting for the ball to snap. He's full speed towards the line of scrimmage. Very hard for him to stop and looking at the ball at the same time.
So from their own 2. Go. Riley's in motion. Quick screen left side, Kevin Huntley. Huntley with running room. Huntley hauled down at the 18-yard line of Grand Rapids by Michael Baker. Set up that quick screen to the left flat.
The reason that McDougal did not call for the snap last time is that Riley went in the wrong motion. This time Riley comes over. He blocks out, and the inside receiver Compton blocks in. And that time Kevin Huntley makes a couple of people miss. 6'2", 200 pounds, rookie out of Wisconsin. And now we have another personal foul.
A late flag for unsportsmanlike conduct just now came out. I mean, what are we, a minute after the play ended? A late flag for unsportsmanlike conduct. Wind the clock. But that'll help things even more as Rick Frazier's bunch is now to the Grand Rapids 10.
Both of these coaches, when they go in at halftime, Eli, are going to have to talk to their players about being smart, because I am not surprised at these officials. Wouldn't be surprised in the second half if they start booting some of these players for the extracurriculars.
On the give, Lincoln Coleman, the big fullback who, as we told you earlier, was the backup to Emmett Smith in 1995. Don't forget, coming up, the Degree halftime report. Looking ahead to a lot of big games. We'll have a nice feature on Gary Compton and what he does away from the arena. Plus, Ed and I back with highlights and stats. It's been kind of a herky-jerky first.
Yeah, one of the stats we're going to have is penalties.
Yeah.
These officials are going to have to send the flags to the dry cleaners at halftime because they're not yellow anymore.
Did you see how many new quarterbacks did so well in the Arena Football League last weekend? I was looking at Chad Salisbury's numbers. 21 of 36, 224 yards.
A lot like Cusick. Big guy, 6'6", 240 pounds.
We showed you on the pregame show, the 30-minute drill with Jill. We showed you Ron Lopez, Cedric Bonner. I mean, this league is loaded with very, very fine quarterback talent.
Cedric Bonner, a guy who, out at Arizona, was pretty much out last year. He played with Arizona and for a while in San Diego, but he was on the Atlanta Falcons active roster when they were in the Super Bowl against Minnesota, so a guy with some NFL experience.
Second and goal from the 9. Kevin McDougal at quarterback. Compton in motion. And again, he tries to throw it away, and a flag comes in.
Well, they're going to call him for grounding, and what it is just going to be a loss of down and take it right where the flag is. Again, the front line of
Corey
Milwaukee.
Mayfield shot right through.
Intentional grounding, number 15. It's a spot foul from the spot of the foul. Loss of down, third down.
Now, he may have had a problem with Compton losing his footing. Watch this.
Yeah, he's the guy in motion when he goes to make that plan. Hadley was right on top of it. He was the #1 receiver target for McDougal, and when he looked up and saw him down, he had to scramble. But Ralph Hughes was playing the right guard position and just got beat inside by Corey Mayfield. Mayfield having himself a big game tonight. Was all rookie last year with 4 sacks. He's picking up right where he left off.
Played for the Tampa Bay Bucks in 1992. Going long, overthrows the only man there, Sean Riley, and another souvenir, Darius Hadley, and Pierce Pigros there on the cover.
And Corey Mayfield, again, making friends with McDougal in that backfield, slams Kevin to the turf one more time.
Now, let's be fair here to McDougal. This is a guy, when he was at Notre Dame, he was 62% as a passer in his senior year. 96 of 115. The guy's been with the LA Rams. He's been with the London Monarchs. He played Canadian ball with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So McDougal's a quality quarterback. He's just not having a ton of support tonight.
A little surprised here that Coach Frazier of Milwaukee is going for this field goal. Down 36-17. I don't know if I wouldn't have to go for a 6-pointer here.
A 38-yard kick by Steve Viditek. It is up, and it is good. So Steve Viditek, who replaces the retired Kenny Stucker, who was the only field goal kicker this franchise had known, he comes up with the field goal, and now it's a 16-point Grand Rapids lead. Hey, you know what happens Friday night? The monsters come out on TNN. That's when those car-crushing, hard-charging monster trucks let it all hang out. And check out the action if you'd like on TNN Motor Madness. Every Friday night, 10 Eastern and Pacific, a part of TNN's Thrill Zone Friday. Mike Hogwood will be there to bring you the coverage right here on TNN. Wasn't that you driving that in?
No.
That was Sam White.
No, my insurance rates would go. They're already high enough. I don't need that.
That was our buddy Sam White, I believe, behind the wheel of that one. That scoring drive, 5 plays, 29 yards in 59 seconds.
But now with 9.9 seconds left, 2 timeouts for Grand Rapids. This is plenty of time for Craig Cusick to bring his bunch out and get some kind of points on the board before they break.
Oh, yeah, in this league, 9.9 is an eternity. Thomas Bailey, the deep man. Off the net, he's got it. To the 19-yard line. And the clock is now going to be stopped with just 1.8 remaining.
They're going to have to back it up. The official was calling for time to stop with about 7.5 seconds left, so they're going to have to add some clock.
They're going to go back to 4.8 seconds.
I guess cut the difference, huh?
Yeah.
A little compromise.
So Coach Michael Trigg will come up with something right here.
Well, he has to kick it. There's just not enough time. 4.8 seconds. If you don't get the touchdown, there's not enough time to run another play. So they will try a long field goal by the rookie Brian Goins.
Goins is in. He has played with the Detroit Lions and 2 games with the Chicago Bears. Sean Riley is deep in case the field goal doesn't make it. Kick is on the way. It is no good, but there is a flag down. Here's the run back. Riley stopped in the end zone.
And Grand Rapids will get a chance to re-kick this. There are 2 flags down, but Ralph Hughes is going to be called for either an outside rush or leverage. I think he might have put his feet. He jumped over the top of a blocker. I believe he's going to get an outside rush. So Coach Trigg and his Grand Rapids Rampage will get to re-kick, although there's a flag on the 5. Which is probably coming inside the 5-yard zone, inside the 5-yard line, before the Milwaukee Mustangs had a chance to field the ball.
We'll let Wes Fritz
figure this one out.
Illegal defense, 95, outside rush. Number 11, kicking team, violation of 5-yard belt. They will offset. We will have an untimed down, however.
There will be, as you hear, one more down. Ralph Hughes was the man that you had talked about with that leverage play.
And this is a good rule. There's no way you can allow this guy to go outside the outside rusher, even though it'll look like he goes right over him. If he goes outside of the head, that time it's Michael Baker. A good call by the official. They will throw that flag just because there's no wingman to block him the way they're lined up.
Now Goins again. Once more, no good. Here's Sean Riley. And the half will end. The half is done with the Rampage up by 16. Jill Arrington is up next with the Degree halftime report. Then we'll be back with more from the Bradley Center. Glad you're with us tonight on TNN Sports.
Welcome to the Degree halftime report. We're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where the score at halftime is Grand Rapids 36, Milwaukee 20. Well, as usual, we've kicked off tonight's festivities here on Thursday night on TNN, but Milwaukee and Grand Rapids aren't the only team in action. Los Angeles is hosting Carolina at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, and of course, there's a full slate of action on Friday and Saturday.
Friday night showcases 2 of the league's top receivers. Hunky Cooper takes to the road with the Rattlers of Arizona, where they'll meet up with George LaFrance and the Red Dogs of New Jersey. Friday also sends San Jose to Oklahoma. Last week, the SaberCats held Houston to only 2 touchdowns. They may be challenged this week, though, as Oklahoma quarterback Ron Lopez completed 24 of 34 passes for 8 touchdowns against Buffalo. Saturday brings the New England Seawolves to Albany, where they'll watch as the Firebirds raise their 1999 championship banner.
Despite the retirement of Eddie Brown, the Firebirds are no easy opponent. They still have quarterback Mike Pawlowski, who led the league with 379 passing yards and 10 touchdowns last week.
The rest of Saturday games pit Iowa against Buffalo. Buffalo leads the lead in turnover margin. Tampa Bay versus Florida. Eddie Williams of Florida leads the AFL with 236 receiving yards a game. And Nashville against Houston. Corey Fleming of Nashville leads the AFL with 16 receptions a game.
Arena football on TNN continues. continues next Thursday as Orlando visits Carolina. The expansion Cobras are hoping to make a big splash in the AFL, while Orlando quarterback Connell Maynor is hoping to get the Predators started towards their third straight Arena Bowl. Orlando at Carolina next Thursday at 8 p.m. on TNN. When we return to the Degree halftime report, we'll tell you how this AFL receiver passes along the lessons he's learned. Grand Rapids leads by 16 at halftime. The Degree halftime report continues in a moment. Minutes left to play in this one. The score at the half, 36-20. The Milwaukee Mustangs 1999 MVP Gary Compton, he's known around the league for his leadership ability, his on-the-field fire, and you know, those are the qualities that give him success on the field, but they're also qualities that give him success off the field. And those are lessons he tries to instill while performing his other job.
There are two sides to Gary Compton. Most people know this one, the one that schools defensive backs. One that shows up here, St. Francis High School. It's here that he educates the young.
I got into a program here in St. Francis. It's a TLC program. What I do is I cover a classroom for teachers a week at a time, and, you know, it goes from art to PE to math to biology.
The TLC program places substitute teachers in week-long sessions while the regular teachers participate in training.
You always want to give back, you know, to the community. I mean, the youth is our future, and you know, just to express to them, you know, what we've learned in life and, you know, how we can make them, you know, better in society. You know, they see it as I'm a, you know, professional athlete who come back here to the community to teach and everything. I think they enjoy it.
Having a professional athlete for a substitute can be an exciting experience for the students. They also recognize that Compton's approach to athletics carries over into his teaching life.
Not only does he take his athletics seriously, he takes teaching seriously, and he knows when to be funny and when to be serious. So that's the best thing about it.
He knows how to relate with us better than other teachers do. He is in touch with us. He knows what we like and talks about the stuff we like.
He just doesn't care about money and playing football. He actually cares about students and what they're doing in school and how they're learning.
While life on the field may provide the biggest challenge, life in the classroom may provide the biggest reward.
I had kids come in, they didn't want to behave or whatever, but they saw the attention that I gave them and the one-on-one that I was wanting to deal with them. And by the end of the semester, I had kids going from a dropout rate to making B's and C's in school. Well, B's and C's aren't the best, but if those kids are passing, it makes me feel like I'm doing my job. You can't go anywhere without a high school education, and to see that I have some sort of impact on somebody teaching-wise and can make that person graduate and at some point in time look back in their life and say, you know what, Coach Compton or Mr. Compton helped me through what I need to do, and now I have my education, and it's helped me, you know, to succeed in life.
When we come back to the Degree halftime report, Eli and Ed will recap the first half with highlights and stats. Stick around.
It's opening night for the Mustangs, and the Rampage pretty much having their way with Milwaukee. Welcome back. Halftime here at the Bradley Center. One bad bit of news, we're hearing little trickles of reports. Alvin Ashley went down. They're now saying could be a torn ACL in his right knee.
Yeah, they'll have to probably do an MRI tomorrow to make sure, but the knee was a little loose when they checked it. He could be out for the season.
And Jill's going to check on that also downstairs. We'll have a further update in just a bit. Let's bring you up to speed on some of the highlights of the first half. It has been pressure, 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 and some keen execution by Grand Rapids.
Milwaukee has really had a bad first half blocking up front. That time it's Les Barley gets in, gets a safety. This time it's Mostella who doesn't get the safety, but that interception, that turned into interception return. And now it's the David Andrews show. He returned that interception for the touchdown, this time nearly 60 yards as the safety man on the kickoff return. You always have to have those guys back there.
And let's not forget Michael Baker, he and Thomas Bailey, that great receiving duo. And there's Baker hauling in one of his touchdown receptions. The numbers on Baker, 5 receptions, 45 yards, a touchdown. And there are the team numbers.
There you go right there. We talked about you have to be near 80% touchdowns to possessions. And Milwaukee, because of the poor protection and a lot of penalties, only 2 touchdowns on their 6 receptions.
Glad you're with us here at the Bradley Center. In purple, the Milwaukee Mustangs. Their deep men, Lamar Cooper, number 4. He's the man who keys it against Brian Goins.
And I bet they burn up the chalk in that Milwaukee locker room trying to figure out how to block this Grand Rapids front.
Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall to that one?
No, because it'd be loud.
Not a pretty kick, Lamar Cooper. To the 15, breaks a tackle, and to the 17-yard line. That's where the Milwaukee Mustangs will be starting 1st and 10. The quarterback is Kevin McDougal, 3rd-year pro out of Notre Dame. He individually is a fine quarterback. Tonight has had very little time with which to work. You look at those numbers and compare them, for instance, to Cusick, the quarterback for Grand Rapids, 11 of 16, 113 yards. But it's not only the numbers of yards, it's how they get paid off at the end of a drive. Riley, maybe a yard gain. Les Barley there to make the stop, a former Division I AA All-American out of Winston-Salem State in North Carolina.
Got the Iron Man of the Week award last week in Grand Rapids win over Los Angeles. A couple of sacks, a couple of touchdowns, a fumble recovery, a nice start for Mr. Barley.
9 years in this league with Charlotte, Tampa, Connecticut, Grand Rapids.
He's been all over the globe.
Good guy, though. I had a chance to spend time with him in the hotel, sitting around the lobby yesterday. Nice fella. Flags on the play, a lot of holding on the interior, long throw incomplete to Sean Riley, but there was a lot of holding going on in the offensive line, and Wes Fritz, the referee, I believe it's only going to be a question as to who he picked out, although Hugh Hunter says it wasn't me, but guys are spinning around like tops. Let's listen.
Violation of the second neutral zone. Defense.
How about it?
Number 42. Holding. 90 offense. They offset. Second down.
Now, a little weird if you've never heard the second neutral zone. The first one is on the ball. The second one is the feet of the defensive lineman. Les Barley right here is not allowed on, he's the blitzing linebacker, to be inside the feet. Although that's very close, the officials are very aware of that rule because it gives him such a free run to the quarterback if he's up into the line of scrimmage.
So the offsetting penalty, 2nd and 9 from Milwaukee's own 17. Compton pays the price from Darius Hadley, but hangs on to the football for a big gainer down to the 18-yard line.
Well, and Tom Porras, the offensive coordinator, the new offensive coordinator for Milwaukee, I think he's had enough of that pressure up the middle. That time, McDougal, a very active quarterback athletically. He uses a little half roll, which is a little unusual in this game. McDougal's going to take it. The entire offensive line, and again, it's backside pressure by Corey Mayfield. He's really had himself a heck of a ball game tonight. Good hustle by him on the backside. Compton able to get open. Hadley, nice shot into the boards, though. Hadley really has good closing speed.
14-yard pickup to the Grand Rapids 17. That one might well have been tipped. And it goes incomplete. Coleman, or excuse me, Compton was the intended receiver, but there was Patrick Scott who lets everybody in the building know, I did it.
And again, it was a little confusion up front. Scott is playing the defensive end. Lincoln Coleman, the fullback, goes in to block on a slide protection, and he's supposed to cut block at the end of the line. When you slide block it so that your quarterback can look to that side. He did not get Patrick Scott down that time, and Scott able to get up and get that ball tipped.
He had one deflection last week against Los Angeles. Again from the Grand Rapids 17. Looking into the end zone, hanging on, touchdown. Lamar Cooper beating Hassan Shamsuddin to the boundary. An 18-yard touchdown strike from Kevin McDougal.
And with Alvin Ashley in the locker room with a banged-up knee, Lamar Cooper, back in '97, a second-team All-AFL performer with the Barnstormers, has had a very good career, 5 years in the AFL. Comes up big for Milwaukee. Milwaukee had to get on the board, Eli, on this drive, or things could have gone really south for them in the second half. But now Cooper is going to have to step up his game with the injury to Alvin Ashley.
He was the number 5 receiver a year ago. Here's Steve Viditek. And all of a sudden, we've got ourselves a 9-point ball game. The Mustangs out in a hurry. And the fans in Milwaukee sensing the momentum shifting.
You know?
Michael Baker.
Ran into Corey Mayfield, his own man, and finally gets put down by Lincoln Coleman. We talked earlier about a possible knee injury to Alvin Ashley. Jill, what else have you found out downstairs?
Well, you know, I do have some bad news, guys. I'm here with team physician. Tell us what the latest is on Alvin.
Well, when Alvin was trying to cut with the ball, it appears he tore his anterior cruciate ligament. From his physical exam, it's no longer working.
So that's going to put him out for the season, we think?
It's the type of ligament you need to play football, to cut, pivot, jump. And so, yes, you need it for foot to play. And so he'll require reconstruction, and that's recovery about 4 to 6 months.
Okay, well, they'll put Cooper in for him. Back to you guys.
All right, so Lamar Cooper is indeed in for Alvin Ashley. Meanwhile, it looked like Corey Mayfield might have jumped here for Grand Rapids. Let's listen in.
Right in the snap. False start, 91 offense. 3-yard penalty, remains first down.
The veteran of the National Football League and NFL Europe, Corey Mayfield. Little antsy.
When you're 305 pounds, it's tough to hide. So if you flinch, they're probably going to get you in. The penalties, the reason this game has not seemed as fast-moving as most arena games is 13 penalties between these two teams. The officials on top of most of the action, a lot of bad blood between these teams, trying to keep it under control.
Oh, Corey, very proud of the fact he has his degree from Oklahoma, criminal justice. The 1st and 13. Cusick throws. No one home, leading Bailey too much, and nearly picked by Wayne Wade. Nearly picked off by Wade.
The reason it was nearly picked off by Wade was the rookie Sean Riley out of Western Michigan. Great coverage on Baker. All over him, able to get the hand up and tip the ball almost to his teammate.
Plus Jeff Savage, the linebacker, in there hurrying him fairly quickly. There's the coverage.
Yeah, actually, Riley did not get a hand on it, but he didn't have to. Just great coverage by him.
So now Cusick looking at the 2nd and 13 from his own 5. Nice grab by Baker, a high percentage pass, and again, Wade was there to make the stop. Just a basic out routine.
Yeah, basic routine, but nothing basic when you're headed for that wall at full speed, and you've got Wayne Wade on your tail about to slam you into the wall.
A wall route, if you will, as you see Terry Grooms picking himself up. Baker, 6 receptions, 55 yards now. Those are the numbers for the former Mountaineer out of West Virginia.
And it was interesting when you brought up the stats between the two quarterbacks. It was amazing that actually Kevin McDougal has 20 more yards at halftime than this guy, Craig Cusick. But really a controlled passing attack tonight called by Michael Trigg. And it's been very effective. Very difficult to play press coverage in the Arena League because you've got no safety help. So these guys, there was Kevin McDougal, the quarterback. They know that these defensive backs, they're on an island.
Now Aaron Marshall leaves for Grand Rapids to be replaced by Patrick Scott. And if you're not familiar in this league, when you're replaced, you are out for the quarter. You can't come back till the next period of play. Here's a 3rd down try. The Utah shovel is bobbled and recovered by Milwaukee for a 1st down from the Grand Rapids 14. Jeff Savage comes up with the football.
You mentioned momentum a little while ago that Milwaukee had run off 17 unanswered points. And we saw Milwaukee have a little trouble early on with the snaps. This time Cusick, it looks like he gets the snap clean. And as he goes back, he hits the fullback in the shoulder pads. That was that was Les Barley. It looked to me like he had the ball, but as he turned to pivot, Barley going up in his blocking responsibility. Shoulder pad hits the ball. Cusick drops it.
On first look, looked like they were trying the old Lee Gross Cup Utah shovel pass. Let's see if the Mustangs can cash in. Compton in motion. Nothing there as they tried the fullback dive from Jeff Savage, and Corey Mayfield was not fooled.
Boy, and Joe, Lewandowski from Western Michigan, another Western Michigan grad, really got upfield from his nose guard spot, and Savage had nowhere to go when he got that handoff. He had a bunch of linemen in his lap.
Only one game played last year for Savage.
51 delete, Z corner on one, ready?
Got a 5-step drop for McDougal with that 51 protection.
And there's going to be a delay of game. The clock has wound down, I believe. Looked like it was at 8, but the flag came out.
Before the snap, illegal formation offense, both ends, 95-91 declared. Remains.
Again, one of the rules in the Arena League is one of those guards is an eligible receiver, so there's really a guard and a tight end. One of them raises their hand on the way to the line of scrimmage to say, I'm the tight end that time. Again, more confusion.
Watch again if anybody puts their hand in the air. There you see it. Up goes the hand.
Ralph Hughes time claims the tight end, but you can't have both of them. You can't have two tight ends in this league.
Going for the distance, touchdown! Sean Riley, 22 yards, beating Darius Hadley. And we've got ourselves a ball game. They are back in it, the Mustangs are.
And look at the difference between the first half and the second half and how McDougal delivers that pass on time. He got it there in with a little bit of zip on it, although he had to get some air. It got there a lot quicker. We saw him miss a couple of those throws earlier. And the second-year player, Riley, out of Western Michigan, goes in to the stands to celebrate.
Corey Mayfield, meanwhile, being tended to by the medical staff.
He is one of the guys that Michael Trigg relies on to get pressure, and he has had a whale of a ball game for Grand Rapids. Several pressures on McDougal, one sack. As they're working that foot, looks like they're testing that ankle to see if it's loose or not.
He's been around, Corey Mayfield has. We told you earlier, played with the Tampa Bay Bucks for 11 games in '92. Was on injured reserve with the 49ers in '93. Played with the Jacksonville Jaguars in '95. He's been in NFL Europe, so he's a solid performer.
Yeah, he's racked up a few frequent flyer miles in his career. And he kind of goes the defensive back route without the thigh pads. Warren Sapp has started that. He must have learned that when he was with the Bucks.
All Big 8 performer in his college days with the Oklahoma Sooners. And that tender ankle supporting 6'3", 305 as he hobbles to the sideline. Now Steve Viditek to draw the Mustangs to within 2. Out of the hold of D'Orazio. Got it. We've got ourselves a 2-point game. And all of a sudden, Kevin McDougal, 12 of 19, 188 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he's thrown them to 4 different receivers. Folks, we've got ourselves a ball game after a bit of a shaky start, at least from the Milwaukee standpoint. Young and old alike watching Steve Viditek boot it away off the hands of Hassan Shamsuddin. With running room to the 24-yard line. Hey, folks, remember, you can get the inside information on next week's Orlando-Carolina game by logging on to AFL on TNN.com. And you can also have a live chat with Carolina wide receiver Jack Jackson on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Just log on to AFL on TNN.com. Jack Jackson. Goodness, did he ever scorch folks while wearing the orange, blue, and white of the Florida Gators.
Now, Michael Trigg has really called a controlled passing game tonight. I think it's about time he lets Cusick air a few out, get some of this momentum back. It's almost like with 24 unanswered points by Milwaukee to get right back into this game. It's almost like Grand Rapids went into a little bit of a cruise control mode. They need to step out of that and get back into high gear.
Andrews wide to the bottom of the screen. Baker in motion at the top. the fullback dive, and the crowd cheering on as Marcellus Mostella gets stopped after a 1.5-yard gain, maybe a couple.
Big difference for Grand Rapids. Their first 5 drives, 22 plays, 135 yards. In the last 3, they only managed 8 plays and 11 yards. So Coach Trigg has got to get this offense going north-south again.
I mean, you've been a player for years. And what do you guys just say, hey, this game's over, and just kick it back?
You don't think you do.
Oh, my. Looked like there was motion by Murray Garrett on the offensive line for Grand Rapids. And that pendulum has really swung over now.
And you can hear the crowd.
False start, 97 offense. 3 yards, remain second down. Short motion, 50 stack, wide post.
They're going to run a stack formation, and they're going to run a wide post. So I talked about the post being the deep route to the middle of the field. Here is your stack right here. And the motion man's going to run the post route to the middle of the field.
That's David Andrews.
And they're going for it.
And he makes the grab just past first down yardage. He needed the 16. He gets to the 15.5.
And that's where a quarterback and a wide receiver do what's called make a sight adjustment, where they both see the same thing. Wayne Wade, playing the defensive back, got back off of the ball and gave a lot of room to David Andrews. So Andrews hooks it up with enough yardage to get the first down. A good hookup by those two.
Let's see what they call here.
Left wing motion. 90, Z post on 2, ready, on 2, hold your water.
90 is a 3-step drop, so because of the short field, they've only got 16 yards to the end zone. And again, Z post, man in motion, right here, running the post route.
Thomas Bailey. But they go up the middle. Baker, he's to the 10-yard line.
And boy, Milwaukee has really done a nice job of taking away what Grand Rapids is trying to do offensively. They are calling the routes. We've heard a couple of post routes called by Trigg, but really Rick Frazier and his defensive staff right now doing a great job of making Grand Rapids play honest and take the underneath stuff.
From the 10-yard line, they need the 6 for the first down. Bailey in motion. And he cuts to his left. The ball goes outside to the right, nearly intercepted by Wayne Wade. One guy, the receiver, was running one pattern, going left on the break. Cusick expected him to go right.
Now, a lot of times what they call in this league is either a choice or a read route. This time, Bailey has a read. If the defensive back is to your left, I break to my right. If he's to my right, I break to my left. But the problem was Bailey made a double move. When you have a choice route, you make one move and you stick with it. Cusick read the first move, threw it over there, and Bailey had already broken back to his left.
Grand Rapids 3 of 4 in third down conversions tonight. They were 50% last week, 3 of 6. Everybody's covered. Cusick's going to throw it away. Great coverage by the Milwaukee secondary, and of course, you think this is a short field to start with when you're snapping the football from the 10-yard line. And we talked earlier about the rounded corners of the end zone making it even cozier than it's 8 yards to start with. There's virtually no room with which to work.
Give Rick Frazier and his staff a lot of credit for the adjustments they have made coming in here to the second half. They've gotten the crowd back into it. They've cut a 16-point lead down to 2 points. This has really been a nice effort coming out in the second half by Milwaukee.
From 26 yards away, Brian Goins. He nails it. And Grand Rapids back on the board, leading 39-34. But trust me, it was not what Craig Cusick wanted. He wanted that touchdown, but only gets 3. Realize it's been 4 possessions since that David Andrews interception that he ran in for a touchdown. That guy's team has scored a touchdown.
Grand Rapids has really, we said cruise control. I think they put it in reverse.
Brian Goins. Lamar Cooper with flags on the play out to the 18-yard line.
Imagine that. We have a penalty flag down.
Had a lot of hankies here tonight.
Well, it's a cold and blustery evening. They figured they'd bring extra.
Man, it was cold today. When we left the hotel, about got blown away.
I'm not going to lie. I'm glad this is an indoor sport after what we had in Milwaukee today.
And tell you, when it gets hot in the deep south and wherever.
Illegal block the waist, 57 on the return team, half the distance, first down.
They'll be happy it's an indoor game then. Brian Easter, the guilty party. Hey, folks, it's the wildest night on TV at 8 o'clock. Find out what happens next on ECW Wrestling. At 9, see who survives on Roller Jam. At 10, it's the car-crushing action of Motor Madness, followed by Rock and Bowl at 11. It's a full night of action on TNN's Thrill Zone Friday, starting at 8 Eastern and Pacific, right here on TNN.
It's the fastest promo read I've ever heard. Nice work.
Thank you. McDougal in trouble. Just throws it away, looking for Sean Riley. And there, friends, is a flag on the play. Listen to this. First half, Grand Rapids scores 5 TDs and 7 possessions. In the second half, 0 of 2. Milwaukee in the first half, 2 TDs and 6 possessions. Second half, 2 of 2. Procedure on the Mustangs.
Illegal formation offense. The tight end was covered, declined.
You know, these are the things that drive Rick Frazier and his coaching staff nuts. He has a new offensive coordinator, Tom Porras, who actually sits up in a booth and calls the plays down through Rick Frazier. But these are things, as a coach, you know, you can handle a guy getting beat physically every now and then. But when guys line up wrong, procedure penalties, those are the ones that keep coaches up at night.
Doesn't matter what the lead.
Exactly.
Go. From their own 5. Lamar Cooper, the man in motion, top of your screen, flag on the play. Looking long, Riley shoves off with coverage by Darius Hadley, and Riley says, hey, I was trying to clear out a path, and Hadley's not going to say a word.
I think they're going to get an illegal defense. The nose guard went into one of the gaps. He's got to stay head up on the center. But I think that Riley had a little bit of a beef there because it did look like Hadley was pushing off.
Illegal formation offense. No tight end declared.
Wow.
Decline.
So well, they're even now, though, because on one play they had 2 guys declare, and this one they had none, so it's a wash.
Yeah, take the average.
Yeah.
Up left, Z-low, 51 hit, Z-post.
Remember, it is opening weekend for Milwaukee. They had a bye last week.
Z-low, 51 hit, Z-post on 1. Ready?
I wonder if the coach liked that or not, having a bye in week 1.
He liked it because of the health, but what he doesn't like is how bad his team looks. The Z receiver will be in motion, short motion, top of your screen. He's the one running the post route.
3rd and 10 play going long. Got him! Touchdown, Sean Riley! 44 yards. Kevin McDougal to Sean Riley in stride. Tristan Moss, a good cover man, no factor.
Good protection up front, slide in the middle. This time they are solid in the middle by Milwaukee, and that allows Riley, the rookie, to get right by Tristan Moss. You heard the Z-post. He was the man in motion. A good route by Riley. Great time for McDougal to hook up for 6.
This will be the first lead of the night for Milwaukee. Grand Rapids scored first on Thomas's Bailey 1-yard touchdown, and they haven't looked back. Extra point by Viditek is up and good, and all of a sudden the Mustangs, and yes, you deserve it, Sean Riley, Mustangs are up by a deuce. Watch it again. I mean, he didn't even have to break stride.
And look at the difference between McDougal in the first half. He had a lot of pressure. He did not look composed at all, but this time, just dropping that ball in there perfectly. He's really made some nice throws in the second half.
Blazing speed, and what Rick Frazier told me the other day on the phone, he said he runs great pass routes. He said the man knows where to go.
And that's really key in all one-on-one coverage. So your quarterback, when it's a timing route, that time, throwing perfectly on time by McDougal, you have to know exactly where your route runner is going to be on that post. And Riley's kind of making a habit of going to the stands. He's going to become a fan favorite very quickly here in Milwaukee.
3 plays, 44 yards in 3 minutes and 26 seconds. First time Milwaukee has led this evening here at the Bradley Center.
Your Grand Rapids, the alarm's been going off now for a quarter and a half. It's time to wake up.
Viditek's kick off the net to Bailey. You hear him stomping, sound like the third turn at the Kentucky Derby.
Well, it is the Mustangs, and although it's the Rampage, their symbol is rhino, so there's a lot of guys slapping their hooves out there.
Let's see what Michael Trigg calls now to try and reignite his team.
Pierce, you're in. Hey, let's go right, wing motion back, 50 stack. That's it.
And you also heard him say, Pierce, you're in. As Pierce Pegros checks in.
Back, 50 stack, on one, ready?
Again, they used the stack formation to perfection a couple of series ago.
Flag on the play.
Probably going to be an illegal formation on Grand Rapids, although he was pointing at Milwaukee.
He pointed right at Wayne Wade.
Unsportsmanlike penalty for playing the music while the team's breaking. 8 yards, first out.
You know,
oh my.
You know, earlier Milwaukee had left not music, but kind of a rumbling sound underneath the crowd as Grand Rapids was trying to play, and I guarantee you someone from Grand Rapids went to the official and said, guys, you have to stop the music. It's a fair rule. Let the crowd have an effect, but not the
And there you see the flag on Music in Motion, Milwaukee's best DJ.
Oh, he doesn't mind getting a little pop, though.
Odell Parks now in at fullback for Grand Rapids. Looking long. Pegros. Does he hang on? No. Pierce Pegros, when we heard the coach say, Pierce, you're in. And Sean Riley and the wall separating Pegros from Pigskin as the quarter ends. We've got 15 minutes of football yet to go. We've seen everything tonight. Even a flag on Jimmy the Music Man. Back in a moment. Back with you here at the Bradley Center, where Milwaukee has outscored Grand Rapids 29-5 since the Rampage led 36-10 earlier in the ballgame. 3rd and 3, Cusick, timing pattern, wide open, nobody's got Bailey, touchdown. Touchdown, 18 yards, nobody picked up Thomas Bailey.
One thing teams try to do to change up their defensive coverage, just to give it a little different look, is on one side of the ball, wherever the dual receiver side is, one of the defensive backs will take underneath, one will take over the top. But that time, it was just a good move by Bailey, and Wayne Wade, who was trying to play a little tighter coverage, bit on the fake by Bailey. A nice one, an easy 6 for Mr. Bailey that time.
Brian Goins, extra point. Count it, and Grand Rapids is back on top. So the lead for the Mustangs, short-lived, but we've got plenty of fourth quarter play yet to go.
All available units in the vicinity of East Side. We got a situation heading south on West Main, 10-4.
Roger, Unit 43. Suspect has been contained.
The apocalypse is coming! Send is near!
Get out of the net. Glad you're with us in Milwaukee. Eli Gold, Ed Cunningham, Jill Arrington, the whole TNN Sports crew. Glad you tuned in. Don't forget Orlando at Carolina next week. We'll be with you from Raleigh. Looking forward to heading up there next door to the Carter Finley Stadium. We'll be there at that beautiful new arena in Raleigh.
Milwaukee needed to make a lot of halftime adjustments. They did, outscoring Grand Rapids 21-3 in that third period.
Lamart Cooper in for the injured Alvin Ashley. And Cooper out to the 18-yard line. Well, let's see now. We've seen kickoffs run back for touchdowns. We've seen interceptions. We've seen
few penalties.
We saw a flag on the music maker.
DJ, yeah.
You get to see our spotter, Butch Owens, which for those of you across the country is certainly a treat worth mentioning. We've seen a bit of everything tonight.
Yeah, and Butch is obviously the highlight of the whole thing.
Certainly so.
It hasn't been our coverage.
an interesting game, though. It's a game that was tough to get going. It was disjointed earlier.
Yeah, and a lot of that had to do with Milwaukee just not able to block anybody up front, giving up a lot of pressure. And they've really solidified here in the second half.
McDougal, quick flare. That screen to Savage. Still on his feet. And they can't bring him down until he gets to the 16-yard line. Michael Baker finally comes in to help out. Jeff Savage would not be put down. 50-year player out of Arkansas.
Savage, kind of a thorn in the side of Grand Rapids. Last year was only able to play in one game because of injury. That game was against Grand Rapids, where he had 2 rushing touchdowns to help Milwaukee to a last-second win. That time makes a nice one-handed grab and then makes, I think he made about 12 guys miss, and there's only 8 on the field for Grand Rapids.
From the Grand Rapids 16. Motion is Cooper. They come the other way. Throwing. It's incomplete. A little bit off the mark to Sean Riley as it skipped off the carpet.
Yeah, that's one of those ones McDougal will relive in his sleep tonight, because Riley was wide open through a nice double move there in the corner of the end zone. And McDougal just not able to deliver that ball on time.
Let's go. Left, X high. 51, Zico, double cross on 1. Ready?
Now the double cross, now that you're inside the 20-yard line, you have to start having crossing routes so that you can try to get the defensive backs confused. Watch the middle of the field.
3 wideouts, flag on the play. McDougal's going to keep it. He's hauled down at the 10, a pickup of 6 on the play when Patrick Scott hauls him down. But again, we've got hankies plenty littering the carpet here at the Bradley Center. And it's coming back on the hold. Rick Frazier just cannot believe it. That's going to be the 10th flag against the Mustangs.
Hold it. Number 90 on the offense. 8 yards. Repeat, second down.
They've lost 42 yards on penalty flags already tonight.
Terry Grooms, the guilty party.
And he saw Les Barley coming
right
through.
Here, he's going to slide down inside and pick up Les Barley, who's the blitzing linebacker. Barley, a great rusher. And when you get that hand on the back, that left hand was on the back of Barley. Grooms just did not bring his feet with him. Very difficult. Most guys, Grooms, a former defensive player. One of the tougher things to do as a defensive player is learn how to pass block. You need to get his feet down underneath of him and stay in front of Barley and won't have to get sloppy with his hands.
Former free agent with the New York Jets in '97. And Lamar Cooper picks up 3 to the 16.
And I like the call there. Not going for the touchdown. You have two downs to kind of play with here. Get a little of it back, and then if you're not going to score, at least give your kicker, Viditek, a little better chance at making it. Again, if your kicker makes 50% of his field goals in a season, he had a great year with these tight uprights.
And Viditek with New Jersey last year, 20 of 43 field goals, including a 51-yarder.
Which doesn't sound good, but in this league, that's very good.
3 of 4 and third down conversions are the Mustangs. On 3rd and 9, nice grab at the 6-yard line. First down, Milwaukee. Only Lamar Cooper could have caught that one.
What are you saying? He's vertically challenged?
No, I was saying it was put exactly where only he could get it.
Oh, I thought you were making a crack at his diminutive nature.
Hey, he's 5'7", 170. You talked to Alvin Ashley, who was bragging about size. You know, look how wiry I am on the pregame show.
Yeah, they claim Alvin's 150 pounds. I think they're sliding a few weights in his back pocket before weigh-ins.
From the 6, first and goal, Milwaukee to retake the lead. Pitch to Cooper. Nothing there. It loses back to the 9-yard line. Shamsuddin and Les Barley snuffing it out.
What an athletic play by Les Barley. He came over the top of the block. They used a little toss sweep. They brought Cooper in motion. Watch the fullback. He's got Les Barley on the outside here. Cuts back inside. Watch Barley right over the top. Plants his hand. Stays on his feet. Now, he doesn't get credit with the tackle, but he slows down Cooper enough to let his inside pursuit come in. That was a very athletic play by Mr. Barley.
Go!
2nd and goal from the 9. Compton, touchdown for the teacher. Gary Compton, we featured him at halftime on the Degree halftime show. And at St. Francis High School, they're celebrating, as are 50 students who are here at the game tonight, compliments of their teacher.
Steve Viditek comes on to attempt the extra point. If I'm Rick Frazier at this point in the game, up 1, I would consider going for 2 points. The end zones here are cut off at the end, and Compton goes up high, makes sure he gets a foot down. You only need 1 in the AFL. Good concentration by Compton.
Viditek, it's blocked. He had 2 blocked a year ago. The ball is dead on an extra point. So, Les Barley, again with Shamsuddin, both busting through, blocked the extra point. But for the 2nd time tonight, the hometown Mustangs are up.
Yeah? Alrighty. Looks like a lot more mates are coming by.
In the Outback, when we have a little dinner get-together, we try to make sure it's an experience mates will go away talking about. Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
Whose house was this? I don't know.
One of the greatest joys of growing up is discovering that dreams can come true. The John Deere LT-133, only $19.99 and built John Deere solid with more than 160 years of relentless craftsmanship and innovative engineering. It's the John Deere you've always dreamed of at a price that's as practical as the man who buys one. Nothing runs like a Deere.
They're not coming out. We're going in to get them. You're always hot. You're always sweating. It's a cat and mouse game.
We have some of the hottest detectives on the streets at Switch Antiperspirant.
Degree Ultra Dry.
Body heat activated.
Does this work?
When your body heat rises, Degree's powerful Ultra Dry form releases extra protection when you need it most.
When the pressure is on, the heat is on, Degree kept up with me. He kept me dry. Degree kicks butt.
Degree Ultra Dry.
That stuff kicks in and takes care of business.
Your body heat turns it on.
Book 'em.
All available units in the vicinity of East Side. We got a situation heading south on West Main, 10-4.
Roger, Unit 43. Suspect has been contained.
The apocalypse is coming! Sand is near!
Get out of the neighborhood. Get into battle tanks, global assault. See the world, then blow it up. Nuke famous landmarks.
I'm warning you, it's a global assault!
For PlayStation game console, rated T for teen. Battle tanks.
You're welcome!
Welcome back to Milwaukee, where the Rampage fans see their team down by a point. That scoring drive, McDougal to Compton, 6 plays, 31 yards, 5 minutes and 14 seconds. Steve Viditek booting it off the net to Michael Baker. Survives to bring it out, and it'll be 1st and 10 from their own 10-yard line. We told you a short moment ago that Gary Compton, the teacher, had some of his students here at the game. Speak about it, and Jill goes to find them. Jill, where are you?
That's right. I found a couple of his students. You know, Gary Compton, about his other job teaching, he gave 50 tickets away, and I found some of the guys. I brought them down here, and they saw a great play by their old teach. What do you think about his athletic ability?
No, I never know that he was that great. Now I see it, I believe it. You know, he's all good.
He sure is all good. Okay, guys, back to you.
You know, he's going to need a 3rd job if he keeps giving away 50 tickets to every game.
Nice touch, though. Here's Cusick. Thomas Bailey on that screen. Picks him up to about the 13-yard line.
And this is where the Arena League really starts to kind of feel like basketball. You start to kind of figure out how much time is left, how many possessions am I going to have, how many possessions are they going to have, because really the way this game is played, both these teams coming down the stretch. Milwaukee finally getting in stride offensively, and Craig Cusick seems to have found a little bit of touch on his last drive.
Boy, do those numbers tell the story, huh? Cusick has time. Looking for Baker. Knocked down as both Baker and Wayne Wade went for the football that was sailing on Cusick. Wade says, let me see that replay on that big Sony Jumbotron. Hey, let me ask you a question. We talk so much about a guy having to come to the line, put his hand up, says, I'm the tight end. They never throw to these guys. Well, one time last week in Nashville, as we see the end of the play here seconds ago, how come they don't go to the tight end in this league much?
Some teams do, but I think what's happening when I talk to both Michael Trigg, the offensive coordinator for Grand Rapids and the head coach, and Tom Porras of Milwaukee, it's early in the season, and remember, they had a shortened training camp, so I believe they're trying to keep their playbooks a little narrow at the beginning of the year.
On third down, the grab for the first down by David Andrews. They'll give him forward progress to the 23-yard line. Paul Guidry. And David says, say what you want, guys. I got myself the first down.
One of the stories we were developing early in the game is this Milwaukee line, both offensively and defensively. Last year, one of the worst lines in the league. They gave up 23 sacks, which was worst in the league. Only had 8 sacks in the season, which was tied for 12th in the league. But here in the second half, really, the front wall for this purple team has stepped up. That time they got to Cusick very quickly, although he was able to get it off. And they've done a much nicer job in protecting McDougal.
I would have loved to have heard Rick Frazier in the locker room at halftime. Baker in motion. Cusick under pressure. Gets away. Spins out of the grasp of Savage. And then unloads down the sideline to Baker. What a play indeed. Jeff Savage had him but couldn't put him down, and now the football's at the 6. The pressure shows you how strong Cusick is.
Well, Cusick is just about as big as this linebacker, Jeff Savage, about 250 for Savage, almost 240 for Cusick. But Savage has to do a better job of getting a hold of him. But look at the athletic ability of Michael Baker. And he's going over the top of Kevin Huntley, who is not a small guy at 6'2". What an excellent play by Cusick, finished off by Baker.
22-yard gain, and Huntley was a 3-year defensive back starter at Wisconsin. So the folks up here know how good he is. Flags.
They're going to get an early jump on Murray Garrett, the left guard. Working on a reach block on the defensive end. Just got a little early start.
First year with the Mustangs, or excuse me, with Grand Rapids, 6th year in the league.
Prior to the snap. False start, 97 offense. 3 yards, remains first down.
Out of eastern New Mexico. That'll be 10 flags now on Grand Rapids.
I was lucky. I spent most of my career as a center. You can't go early as a center.
No.
When you snap it, the play starts.
You the man. Of course, you never got to put your best side forward.
I'm going to let that one lie.
2 wideouts left. Baker goes wide right. Mostella, the fullback. Bailey, touchdown. Just has eyes wide open, looking for something. And Thomas Bailey, the former Auburn Tiger, gives those Rampage fans something to cheer about.
Bailey's supposed to get some blocking downfield. However, he got a little help there at the end on Paul Guidry, but really a nice job. He came inside, bounced back outside on the block on Guidry. And people from Auburn remember this guy, such a huge part of that 93 team that went 11-0 and finished the season top 5 in the country.
38, quick toss, on 1, ready?
Went on to play with the Cincinnati Bengals, played with the Rhine Fire, and now they're going to go for 2.
Yeah, up 5, a good call here by Michael Trigg.
Mostella, another Auburn Tiger, does not get in. Marcellus Mostella head up against Jeff Savage, who makes the big stop on the 2-point conversion. But now you see the clock and the time remaining. It's becoming a factor in the ballgame. They're going to break away and then come right back with more from the Bradley Center. Yeah, you got time, Kevin. Checking the clock. Time for him to go back to work.
Now's the time to head to McDonald's for 2 temptingly tender chicken sandwiches. Introducing the new crispy chicken and the new Chicken McGrill, made hot, fresh, right to order, with all white meat and the perfect seasonings for a surprising taste.
At the Bradley Center here in downtown Milwaukee, crowd kept back a bit by the poor weather here today. But overall, around the Arena Football League, as Jill told you on the 30-minute drill, the pregame show, average of 12,000 fans a weekend ago. Off the slack net and the touchback, so it'll be a 1st and 10 from their own 5-yard line coming up for the Mustangs. Hey, if you like high-speed excitement, you'll want to join us for NHRA Winston Drag Racing here on TNN. The world's fastest drag racers do battle. Don't miss the Virginia Nationals, Sunday, April 30th, 4:30 Eastern and Pacific, right here on TNN. I'll be there along with the Chi-Town Hustler, Frank Hawley, Steve Evans, bringing it to you from just outside of Richmond, Virginia.
Boy, it's tough if you're a fan. You just never know what's going to happen. Grand Rapids in this first half looked like they were going to cruise home with this victory. And all of a sudden, Milwaukee finds a little stride.
They were up 36-10. Compton, good job to hang on. That was great hands by Compton.
Yeah, that's the one thing about playing wide receiver. At any level, you have to be able to catch the ball with your hands. That ball was zipped in there by McDougal, and Compton, just as he spun around, the ball was getting there, able to catch the back end of the football. Our coaches used to always say, you don't get credited with 2 catches, just the 1. But a nice double catch by Compton.
Remember, the clock keeps moving, but then we get to the 1-minute mark here in the 4th quarter. Then the clock will begin to slow down just a bit. From their own 10. Riley gets to the 19 before he's slowed down by Tristan Moss and Darius Hadley for Grand Rapids. We'll be back here later this year. We'll be here in Milwaukee again on July the 20th. I correct myself, June the 22nd. Get the date right. The San Jose SaberCats are going to be here, and we will as well. We are also going to see Grand Rapids again on July the 20th when they travel to the Myriad in Oklahoma City to meet the Wranglers. So both of these teams will be on TNN again later this season.
Oklahoma had their name legally changed from the Portland Forest Dragons to the Oklahoma Wranglers.
I like that building, the Myriad, in downtown Oklahoma City.
I understand they had a myriad of problems while they were building it.
I knew you'd say something along those lines. Timeout taken by Milwaukee. It is going to be the first called by the Mustangs here as Rick Frazier talks it over with Kevin McDougal. I'm looking forward to going to Raleigh next week because that's going to be a great chance to show off that Raleigh Entertainment and Sports Arena because that's a beautiful building that we all visited for a preseason game a few weeks ago. Hope you can tune in next week. Orlando and Carolina. The Cobras are an expansion team, hoping to make big impact here in year 1. While Orlando quarterback Cannell Maynard, he's hoping to get the Predators started towards their 3rd straight Arena Bowl. That's Orlando at Carolina. From Raleigh, we'll be there next Thursday, 8 p.m. on TNN. Get all the details about that man. Pretty fair coach right there, Jay Gruden.
One of the best all-time quarterbacks in this league. There is one of the worst all-time dancers in Milwaukee. There's the other one. He's got the white guy overbite going.
Anybody ever tell you you're a sick human? The requisite Mustang cowboy hat and the requisite Rampage.
Is that the former singer from Loverboy?
It might well have been.
Well, now that's not fair. She's a professional dancer. She can actually dance.
I was waiting to see what you were going to say. 1st and 10 from their own 20. McDougal to throw. McDougal, he's going down. Marcellus Mostella just shot through the gap and got a hold of McDougal.
A little bit of confusion. Whenever someone comes free, something's happened in the middle of that line. Slide protection. The center and the left guard slid to the wrong direction, and Mostella able to come outside of the left guard, who came too far down inside, ran free right into the lap of McDougal.
They picked off Odell Parks nicely, but did not get Mostella.
Whatever happens in this game, that's one thing Milwaukee will have to correct in films, is start sliding the right way.
From their own 11, McDougal looking, overthrows, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Tristan Moss as the football sailed on McDougal looking for Lamar Cooper, and he can't believe he threw that baby away.
Well, you said it perfectly. The ball sailed. That ball, that is a post route that time, and As we have number 15, Kevin McDougal, down. I didn't think he got hit after the play, but this ball thrown to the outside, and there's no way Cooper can come back and make the play.
He wasn't hit. He was just so ticked off, and then Lincoln Coleman, a veteran on this club or in the league, came over to console him some.
Right. The only thing hurt is his pride, because that ball, if he had to throw it 10 times, 9 of them would be right on the money. But that time, he just does not get the ball in front of Lamar Cooper, and they paid dearly with the interception by Moss.
Now we're coming up on the 1-minute timing rules again, where the clock will begin to stop at normal stoppage areas as he used to. Plus, the team with the ball is the team leading on the scoreboard. So they've got to try and do something. They just can't take a knee like you'd see in the stadium played game.
No, and I'm a little surprised that Milwaukee has had a team for 6 years now. This is their 7th year on the field. And the fans are starting to leave. You've got to figure that these people have seen enough of this game to know that with a minute left, Rick Frazier's team has a lot of opportunities to win this game. You know, it's going to be one of those deals where they listen on the radio driving home, and they kick themselves if their team ends up winning.
That was the first time this whole half that Milwaukee didn't score on a possession. That's how well they had turned things around. From his own 5, Craig Cusick trying to lead the Rampage to their second win. Les Farley, he'll turn the corner to the 17-yard line.
And a 9-year veteran, kind of a ball control play call by Michael Trigg. Les Farley needs to know, there's Trigg giving him an earful. Hey, Les, do not go out of bounds. You just saved a timeout for Milwaukee because the clock would have been able to run all the way down to close to 30 seconds had he stayed in bounds.
And remember, folks, Milwaukee has already used one of their 3 timeouts. The Rampage, should they need them, have all 3 remaining.
That was one of my big pet peeves late in the game as an offensive lineman, when someone would step out when we had a lead. They had a little talking to when they got back to the huddle.
To the 19-yard line. Down low, Thomas Bailey. Timeout, Milwaukee. Next up on the schedule for that man, a trip to the Compact Center and a visit with Houston's Thunder Bears, while Grand Rapids back home for the next couple of games. They'll play Iowa's Barnstormers, and then Milwaukee pays a return visit to the Van Andel Arena in Grand Rapids.
Clint Dolezal, the quarterback, record-setting quarterback the last 2 years with Houston, moved on as a free agent contract with the Chicago Bears. Last week, Houston did not fare well without him, only able to put 14 points on the board in their loss.
Don't forget, coming up this weekend, action all around both the Arena Football League and AF2. Arena Football 2. I'm going to get a chance to check out the Birmingham Steel Dogs and the Pensacola Barracudas on Saturday.
Pensacola Barracudas, the offensive coordinator is Michael Buck, who was one of my quarterbacks, one of my many quarterbacks when I was with the Arizona Cardinals, a good friend of mine.
Check out a game near you. I think you're really going to enjoy what you see. Here's Farley, close to the first down, but I don't know if they're going to give it to him, though. On that second bounce, he might have gotten there.
Wes Fritz gives the signal that it is a first down. You're Milwaukee. You have to start thinking about burning another timeout. You just cannot let the clock go down with this 25-second clock. Clock rolls after they set the chains.
Very much like the NCAA rule. And Milwaukee's not calling anything. Play clock is at 12.
Yeah.
It'll take them down to...
And if you're Grand Rapids, you may even take a penalty here and let it run down to 0.
Oh, certainly. 5-4. Now they get the snap off just in time, and Cusick.
Now the clock will stop. You have to get positive yardage inside a minute. If you're the leading team or it's tied on offense, you have to get a forward movement with the football past the line of scrimmage or it stops. So really, they give Milwaukee a break here.
How about David Andrews as our Tough Acton, Tenacton Iron Man of the game? Brought to you by Tenacton. For tough cases of athlete's foot, there is Tough Acton, Tenacton. What a night he's had.
A guy who only got to play in 4 games last year with a bum ankle. a former Milwaukee Mustang. Back in '97, he had 68 receptions, 846 yards, and 11 touchdowns for Milwaukee, and now he's making them pay for letting him go.
Nothing for Bailey. And you read that graphic on Andrews correctly. An interception, run back for a touchdown, and a kickoff return for a touchdown for our Tenacton Iron Man of the game.
And now things get really interesting. We have a third down. Milwaukee, although we thought they maybe should have taken the timeout, Grand Rapids did them a favor by not getting positive yardage on their last play. So if Craig Kusick and the Grand Rapids team is not able to get a first down, Rick Frazier looks like he'll probably get the ball back.
Don't forget, we will have post-game coverage for you. Jill will be downstairs chatting with some of the players. We'll stay with you till the bottom of the hour. So when the horn sounds in a bit over 9 seconds, hang with us for our post-game coverage. And tune in next Thursday. We will be in Raleigh, North Carolina for Orlando and the Carolina Cobras. Grand Rapids 4 of 9 and third down conversions. Here's a 3rd and 13. Over left tackle. And that is going to do it right there. Final score, the Grand Rapids Rampage 52. The Mustangs 47. Michael Trigg and Rick Frazier. With a quick word. And a nice thought for Gary Compton.
Those two have quite a history. Milwaukee picked up Compton, and Trigg had coached him when he was down with the Fort Worth Cavalry. Cavalry has really a lot of respect for Gary Compton.
So Grand Rapids now improves to 2-0. They beat Los Angeles last week 51-31, and they downed Milwaukee this evening 52-47. The Mustangs, this was their season opener, so they dropped to 0-1. Craig Kusick, he's a winner again. Back with the postgame after this.
Well, looky here, $1. Must be my lucky day. But is it really worth it to bend down and pick it up? It's only $1 after all.
Bradley Center, where Grand Rapids has made it 2 in a row for the visiting team on TNN Sports. Last week, Albany a winner in Nashville. Tonight, Grand Rapids winning here in Milwaukee. David Andrews back after missing the last 10 regular season games last year because of injury. And Jill, he's come back in fine fashion tonight, hasn't he?
You betcha. You know, I've got the Iron Man of the game standing by. Did you know that? What a great performance he had tonight. He had 35 receiving yards, an interception return for a touchdown, and a kick return for a touchdown. Tell us what it's like to play both ways.
Oh, it's real hard. You know, you get tired. You got to pretty much pace yourself in the game. And playing both ways, you know, give you a chance to play a little defense and offense at the same time. So the guy that's tackling you, you can pretty much get him back. And, you know, it's like you say, it's Iron Man football.
Well, you know, this sport is all about big plays, and you had 2 big plays. How'd that work out?
Oh, yeah, the play that I had on the kick return, that was a real big play that pushed us up, you know, because in this game, pretty much the big plays win the game. Because as you can see, teams will come back, but the big plays are the factor.
Good job. Well, we have Craig Kusick over here, and he had some really big plays today. You had 20 of 30 for 207 yards and 3 touchdowns. What was it like to win for your parents?
It's good. I'm glad they could make the trip. You know, it's always good to have them. They've supported me for you know, my whole career, so it's good to have them here.
And how big and how important is this win tonight over this team?
Oh, it's big because it takes us to 2-0. But not only that, it's a Central Division game, and they're a tough opponent, turning into a big rival for us. And you know, it shows good composure that we were able to withstand their run and come out with a win.
Sure was. Back to you guys. Great game.
All right, Jill, thank you. And indeed, those fellows did turn in quite a performance. You see some of those great championship banners hanging overhead here at the Bradley Center. The Al McGuire Championship banner, and those were from Marquette. This building is, and the city has seen a lot of great sports, and the Mustangs will win their share of ball games. But it was 2 games in 1 tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the first half. They really could not get going anything offensively. They're having a lot of trouble up front blocking. Then Alvin Ashley goes down. That's a big loss. It looks like he'll probably be out for the season. Then finally, Kevin McDougal got comfortable behind his offensive line. Came out, it just wasn't quite enough there at the end.
But it was a night of big plays. Why don't we take a moment, look back some of the highlights from earlier. In particular, a fumble that really got Milwaukee back in the ball game.
And it was just kind of a mishandle between Farley and the quarterback Cusick. And that was a time when you had talked about momentum. That really gave the momentum to Milwaukee and made this an interesting ball game.
Then Craig Cusick to Thomas Bailey.
Little double move by Bailey, and Cusick moves out of the pocket, buys himself a little time. Bailey and Baker, two of the best tandem receivers in all of arena football.
And again to Bailey.
Bailey this time pretty much does it all by himself. A lot of purple guys laying on the carpet after that one.
Great cutback move. So Milwaukee made it a big-time run, but Grand Rapids just too much down the stretch.
Grand Rapids had a great advantage up front. The 3 sacks were really key in the beginning of the game as they took advantage of some mishaps up front for Milwaukee. Milwaukee, a nice job in the second half protection, but it was the touchdown to possession ratio that really hurt Milwaukee, especially early. First half, they were only 2 touchdowns on 6 possessions.
And of course, probably the biggest loss of the evening, again, the fact that Alvin Ashley's out with the ACL injury, and we heard from the doctor earlier that it is likely that he's done for the year. All right, so now you're Coach Rick Frazier. You've had a so-so game number 1. What do you work on? What's your number 1 thrust to prepare for Houston?
There's nothing you can do in this league without having your quarterback on his feet. It was not that Milwaukee was getting beat physically up front. They were making a lot of mental errors. Go back to the chalkboard, spend a lot of time in the film room, get those things solved, and they're going to have a good offense here in Milwaukee.
So Grand Rapids now 2-0. The Mustangs dropped to 0-1. Back to wrap it up from the Bradley Center. Right after this.
Castrol Super Clean All-Wheel Cleaner is uniquely formulated to instantly release brake dust and road grime. So your wheels will look new, even if your car isn't. Castrol Super Clean All-Wheel Cleaner outperforms all leading wheel cleaners.
Now batting for high heat baseball, Sammy Sosa.
Hola?
Hey, Sammy, you're in the wrong game.
Huh? High heat is so real.
Sammy Sosa High Heat Baseball 2001. Exciting pitcher-batter matchups. Unanimous PC Sports Game of the Year winner. Rated E for everyone.
Now batting Sammy Sosa.
Hey, Sammy, you're in the wrong game. We're playing over at Greg's. Sammy Sosa High Heat Baseball 2001. Catch it.
It's so real.
And catch Sammy Sosa Softball Slam.
Painting the house, boys. Need one of you to help.
Have you? I'll tell you what, Kev. How about you help Dad paint the house this time? And I'll paint it every time after.
Really?
All right, dude.
Behr Premium Plus comes with a lifetime guarantee. So once you're done painting, you're done painting.
Sucker.
Behr Premium Plus. Buy it at the Home Depot.
Now's the time to head to McDonald's for 2 temptingly tender chicken sandwiches. Introducing the new crispy chicken and the new Chicken McGrill, made hot, fresh, right to order, with all white meat and the perfect seasonings for a surprising taste.
Whoa, that was only the first bite.
Who has 2 great new chicken sandwiches? Did somebody say McDonald's? A worldwide Olympic partner.
Boom! Stop dead in his track. That's how fast Tough Actin Tenactin Pump Spray works. It stops the itching and burning of athlete's foot dead. The only leading brand so tough it prevents athlete's foot. Tackle athlete's foot symptoms in seconds with Tough Actin Tenactin.
Arena Football on TNN is brought to you by Castrol Super Clean All-Wheel Cleaner. It outperforms all leading wheel cleaners. So Grand Rapids is a 52-47 winner over Milwaukee. The Rampage now 2-0. The Mustangs dropped to 0-1. Looking ahead at the Grand Rapids schedule, we told you they will have those games upcoming. Iowa, Milwaukee. Then they hit the road for trips to Florida and Houston before New Jersey comes visiting in early June. While Milwaukee will go to Houston and to Grand Rapids before returning home for a singleton against New England and road trips to Iowa and Arizona. Folks, be sure to join us again next Thursday for more arena football as the Orlando Predators visit the Carolina Cobras. Our coverage from Raleigh begins at 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific here on TNN. This has been a presentation of the Arena Football League. Permission must be granted by the AFL for any reproduction or rebroadcast of this game. For Ed Cunningham and Jill Arrington, I'm Eli Gold. Grand Rapids a winner, 52-47. We bid you good night from Milwaukee.